It's coffee. It's comics. It's music. It's Nerds on Coffee.
There we go.
It's really just a target.
I always try to do the Disney, the Universal intro, but I really suck at it. One day I'll get
It's
it.
all right.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Nerds on Coffee episode. I really have no fucking idea.
We stopped having an idea after like 3.
Yeah, for
So-
sure. We have one of my good buddies, Ben Farber, on today. Honestly, it's like one of the episodes I've been looking forward to most.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
all the people that Matt has talked shit about of who's going to come on the show, of just like, man, I'm just really fucking, you've been the most. For sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
honored.
For
I
sure,
mean,
yeah.
we have so much to cover, from like Impossible Burgers at Crossroads.
Oh man,
to
that's right.
To Kristen taking your job and it actually working out for the best.
That is true. Damn, you know that story.
Yeah. So
wow, we
there's-
got a lot to
we
get
have
into.
a lot to cover today.
Man.
But before we start any of that, we start every. So when we started the podcast, the irony of the name Nerds on Coffee was because Kyle had never had a glass of coffee, a cup of coffee when we started. Never in his life.
In your entire life.
In his entire life.
Never did it.
So,
no.
The
so
fuck?
every episode,
Yeah.
I go around town to a different coffee shop and bring him coffee to
Okay.
try live.
Okay.
So tonight we're trying the dark roast from Pete's Coffee. It's
Which
a
is-
local chain.
It's like one of the better like dark roasts that I've had, because
Yeah.
so far a lot of the dark roasts that I've had have been like big chains,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like I'm not like super into it. But
Totally.
through this, these couple of months, like I've basically discovered that I like black coffee, just good black coffee.
So you're just
Like,
straight black
fucking
coffee.
all
Like,
in,
Typically,
man.
I am
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
I went bitch today.
yeah. Wow. I mean, that's pretty aggressive. Not being a coffee drinker your entire life and
Well, I
then
used
just
to
going
be-
straight black.
Dude, I gave him a frappuccino and he was like, "No." He
Wow.
thought he
I was like,
wanted.
nope.
Yeah,
and
he
then he
just
brought me
wanted the black.
like a good like flavored coffee. It was like brewed with flavor instead of like
Yeah,
having
like a nice
syrup and
hazelnut.
stuff. Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, it's okay, but like because the coffee flavor, I mean, we've talked about this a shitload. The coffee flavor to me is just so distinct, and it's a taste that I'm acquiring.
Yeah.
If I have any kind of flavor in it, I feel like I'm drinking another flavored drink and someone spilled coffee in it. And so now it's just a shitty version of both of them. It's like, I don't want this fucking piss water.
Yeah.
Come on,
I
man.
need my coffee straight.
Exactly.
So you like the Pete's?
This isn't bad. Yeah. It's not bad.
So Pete's holds a special place in my heart because my dad had a heart attack back in the 90s. He moved out to LA. And I was like, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10. I would come visit him, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
And there was a Pete's on Main Street in Santa Monica. It's closed now. It's a Blue Bottle. Fuck Blue Bottle. But it was a Pete's right on Main Street in Santa Monica. And they just have the best blueberry scones. And I remember like my dad would get a coffee, I'd get a blueberry scone, and that was like my trips to LA
It's like
to
your
see
thing,
my dad.
man.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome.
That's pretty awesome. my mom has always been drinking Pete's coffee as well. So Pete's was like the first chain
Pete's the thing.
Nice.
chain
That's what's
coffee
up.
place. So I'm approval of the dark roast.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. I mean,
So
it's still got good
are
flavor.
you addicted now? Like, are you getting the headaches?
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
drinking them on
definitely,
Monday
like-
or
Yeah,
what's
Yesterday
definitely,
he had like
like-
3 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna
No,
say
I
like,
I definitely like steered in the skid hard.
So he's
So-
also sober for the last like 8 months.
Like 5 or 6
5
months.
or
oh, good
6
for
months.
you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
So-
huge.
So I feel like he's supplementing.
I just need
got a
because
replacement.
I can't smoke any. Like I used to smoke pipes and cigars like all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
got really into like whiskey and scotch and bourbon and like obviously like did the whole craft beer thing. Got really into wine, and so like all of the adjacent categories to like good coffee, I had already like really gone down a rabbit hole with and explored and like developed a big love for all of those. So I cut all that out, and now it's just like, all right, well now I'll finally give coffee a shot. And I feel like I did it the right way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like so within 4 weeks of starting to drink coffee, he's tried all of the like boutique shops in LA, and then our probably the 2 episodes before this one will air. We went live to a coffee roastery in downtown called Chimney Coffee, and
Yeah, one of my buddies
and
roaster.
Kyle got a front row seat at them taking a like unroasted green bean, have them roast it in front of him, grind it, and then make it into pour over coffee.
was-
Dude,
we did it on the air.
We did a
That's sick.
legit,
Fucking legit.
Yeah, we did a legit cupping and tasting, and then he actually made he had Chemexes and he did all kinds of like amazing shit, and then brought it to. So he had these like tiny, small, little like half moon mugs that didn't have any like handles on them. You just, like
a wine glass.
very ceremonial. It was so good. And then he
man,
like hooked us up and sent us home with some. And so I've just been doing pour over now.
Dude, that's fantastic.
I went
Yeah,
0 to
great.
100 like really fast.
You did. Where is this coffee shop downtown?
It's
in Chinatown.
Chinatown down.
Like it's in like the heart of
you
Chinatown.
just bought a place downtown.
I did.
Oh,
I did
nice.
buy a place
Right, so
downtown.
like,
Congrats.
this is like the first episode that I'm like the fucking like bum, right? I'm here with 2 homeowners, and
That's
I'm like
true.
that asshole in Marina Del Rey living on the beach.
That's true. And last
okay.
episode, I was the only
Non-Jew.
non-Jew because we had
Oh, yeah,
like
now we're good.
Yeah, now you're
100%.
good. But like last episode, we had a Jew on the couch, a Jew there, and a Jew here. And
I
he
love
was
that.
he was the only Christian. We just went in.
yeah,
just went in, we were
100%.
No
like-
wonder you guys were talking about the Holocaust. Yeah. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely. Like I have to really lean on like my white Anglo-Saxon Protestant male status somehow. I'm a wasp.
Bro,
I'm a wasp.
I mean, you could pull it off being a Jew, though. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah,
you
he's
got
very
the whole
Jew,
fucking
yeah.
look.
It's just I got the
But
beard.
You work
and the,
in the
yeah.
music business. I mean, come on.
I don't want to spend. We've talked about this a lot on the podcast. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But something for you to know is like Kyle is like the most fascinating Christian to me.
Okay.
And I always say this because I like respect it. So he's a man of faith for sure, hands down, no holds bars. But he's also a man of science and will call out the fuckery in the faith and believes that there's probably, I don't know, do you believe that there's probably life outside of the planet?
I 100% believe
cool.
there's life outside.
Yeah,
of the
so
planet.
so like it opened my eyes to what a religious person could be.
Right.
Because before meeting Kyle, I never even had the dream that it could intersect.
Right.
And Kyle's kind of opened my eyes to like what maybe a millennial or a more like 2019 version of a religious person could be.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that like it's not unreasonable to assume that like God also like provided a lot of resources for us to be able to help one another through science and technology and medicine. And so I think that like the notion of being a Christian scientist or people who don't believe in any type of medical assistance whenever there's like any types of sicknesses or ailments, they just pray and they rely on their faith or whatever. And it's like, I'm not like telling you that your belief system is wrong, but when you're cancer-ridden 12-year-old dies because you refuse treatment because you're trying to pray the fucking cancer cells away, like, I think you should go to jail. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so you can believe what you want to believe, but, like, you've taken something to an extreme level and someone's
Right, like
now
that's
not
okay
here.
until the internet became a thing.
Right. Well, you're just like, I don't know. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for you to tell me now that you're a Christian scientist.
No, it's actually kind of funny that you like bring this topic up because I talk about this a lot with other people, and like I am Jewish, but my family, I wouldn't say that we are the best Jews ever. Like
I've
I
never
eat
met
bacon
one
and I
Jewish
eat
person that's
cheeseburger.
ever said like, well, I'm not the best Jewish person ever. Like,
and I'm appreciative of where my heritage came from, but I think to the point of God and religion right now, there's no denying the fact that all around us there is an energy.
Yeah.
We each put off energy, and there's a different source that we can't see that is, I feel, is like what God is described as. Like that's what
Totally.
you call
Right.
God,
Yeah.
and the people that are praying for their son to get rid of cancer, I feel like that prayer is trying to put out good energy into the
for sure, and there's
world.
nothing wrong with that.
Of course not. Of course.
Right, that person that prays and then like a doctor knocks on their door, but they ignore it, not getting the sign.
100%. I'm like, that I believe is an extension of God's provision. Like, as someone who's like a Christian man, like we have a Christian like household. Both my wife and I were raised in like Christian households, albeit mine was significantly more Southern and conservative than hers was. But
He's from Oklahoma,
Okay.
raised in Texas.
yeah, and so I was born in Texas, grew up in Oklahoma, and then lived in Texas for 10 years through like my teenage years. And but yeah, I just think that like, I don't know. I just think it's irresponsible to just outright say that a doctor is not a way that God is providing for you.
I do agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like it would be just as ridiculous for me to say like, hey, this doctor, God sent him to heal your child. I think that would be just as ridiculous as you saying God did not send him to heal my child, because there's no like empirical data to prove either. And so I think that like whenever you're talking about someone who's faith-based, you just need to rely on the fact that you study God through the Bible, and as a Christian, you through the New Testament and the Old Testament. We read the Old Testament too, but
That's the book right there. That's that shit.
Yeah. But Jesus came, and then he was our boy, and so,
He was actually our boy first. You guys just stole him.
Yeah. Well,
Just saying.
Well, it's the universe. It's
Yeah.
it's the universe that brings all of this together.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And
like
so-
this doctor that's here right now. You can't say, "Oh, God brought me this doctor." Like, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for me, I look at it as like everything happens for a reason. There is
Yeah.
a reason that this doctor is here with us to help.
Totally.
It might not be God, it might not be this higher energy, but
Sure.
I believe that there always is a plan for how we
talked about that a lot.
navigate
Yeah,
lives.
Yeah.
I think that everything happens for a reason,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, we just had Caitlin Herman on too. She was on this most recent season of Big Brother. She's also a certified life coach. She reads people's auras and energy.
Love that.
She's an extremely empathetic person, and like she.
We fucked with her pretty hard.
We
told,
put her
we
through
told
the
her that
ringer.
Alexis broke up with me and that my book got deleted off my computer.
How did she take that?
She got real emotional real fast, and Kyle bailed. Kyle bailed real
You sat
fast.
back.
Because
and
I
just let
knew,
that
like,
go?
I also knew Caitlin like before she came on the
Okay.
show, and so I was like, we gotta cut
Yeah,
this
he
out, man.
so she has like a couple 100,000 on Instagram. So like we're live on her Instagram. I'm saying all this, and like you can just see her face get like really sad.
I'm just like,
Kyle's like, you know
we're
what?
not doing
Like
this.
all of what he just said is completely a lie. His girlfriend is like great. They're about to get engaged. His book's right there on the couch.
Yeah.
Like,
And then we had to enter, like, immediately after we had to enter into, like, a binding verbal contract of, like, we're not going to lie to you for the rest of the episode. It's like,
That's great.
don't worry, we're fine.
and then I
We're
found
good.
out that she was a Long Island Jew, and I'm like a New York City Jew. So
Okay.
I basically told her life for her,
Oh,
and
yeah,
she
for
agreed
sure.
with the.
Are
it
the Long
was
Island Jews? They have
fascinating.
like their,
I was like, so your parents live in Boca? Or,
Yeah.
like your grandparents live in Boca?
Yeah.
And she was like, yep. And then like
I got, like, a whole crash course, and I couldn't believe it.
I believe it.
yeah, because you're Jewish from where?
From San Francisco.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those are interesting Jews from
Yep.
from the Bay Area.
Yep.
Because like one bad bombing, they could be like Japanese Jews. Right? You watch Man in the High Castle?
No.
Do you watch
Yeah,
Man in the High
no,
Castle?
I don't.
Bro.
Did we just miss?
Bro, you just missed like
Kyle and I just complete that.
Like,
Just went
okay.
right over
You
our
know what?
heads.
But I love combining words. I love puns. I love, like, word plays and putting things
So-
together. And so you said Japanese Jews, and my brain just went Japanese.
exactly.
Well, because you said that you were an Egyptian Jew also.
Yeah.
I called you an Egyptian.
Yeah, an Egyptian.
I'm just all about it.
So you guys both watch House of Cards?
I don't.
Not in a while.
But
I've
you
watched
did.
the first season.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So like you know like how that was like the crowning achievement for Netflix. It's like what started it all,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So
Like that and Orange is the New Black.
yeah, exactly. So the show that did that for Amazon is a show called Man in the High Castle. It's fucking amazing. I've
heard of it. I know the show.
I suggest you both watch it.
Yeah.
And the whole show's premise is that Germany and Japan won the war, and San Francisco is a Japanese occupied territory now.
Jesus
Ah,
Christ.
okay.
It's fucking
Okay.
amazing.
Insane.
All
right.
No,
That's intriguing.
yeah, it's like on
It's
season
also
4
not
now.
like entirely unrealistic.
No, dude, Pearl
Not at all.
Harbor. Pearl Harbor doesn't happen, and one or two bombings go the right way for Germany, and boom.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
it.
the margin was that narrow.
It was
in
that
the
narrow.
actual war too. Like people don't understand.
Yeah,
Like, it's not
they
like
just
America.
think that we won, and like it was like a video game.
Like it's like not like America rolled in, just rolled our sleeves up and beat the shit out of everybody. I mean, there was an aspect of that, but that's not the whole story.
No,
like
for sure.
I think the entire world and the entirety of the Allied forces, whenever like Germany surrendered and whenever like the war came to an end, we're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, because
100%.
everyone was on their last leg.
Right.
Like everybody
Oh,
was
yeah.
on both sides. Everyone was like at the end. It was
Bro,
like
they were on
okay.
their last leg so much to the point that
Like,
a
are they ever gonna
president
fucking die?
A
Like-
president said we should nuke them. Right? Like it was so
100%.
desperate that like somebody was like, it makes more sense to drop a nuclear weapon.
Oh, yeah.
To drop a sun, right? That's
Yeah.
what it is. A nuke is a controlled sun.
We threw space energy at an entire country.
Yes.
Because we didn't know how to solve the problem. Like we
That's
didn't know.
fucking insane.
It's so insane.
I mean, it's so insane that it's kind of scary to think about if that happened in the new world.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
like,
I don't
we
even
talk like
Well, so
know,
I
like-
always say that's a good point. So my thing is we created nuclear fusion, and within 50 years of creating nuclear fusion, we made 3 parts on the planet that we know of unlivable for the relative future.
Yeah.
Chernobyl, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? And 3 Mile Island's pretty damn close with the nuclear meltdown.
Yeah.
So I always say, I don't think it's going to be a nuke. I don't think a nuclear war is what's going to do in Earth. I think in 50 to 100 years, someone's going to figure out how to do a fusion drive, and some asshole's going to test that fusion drive too close to the planet in space and push us 1.01% off our axes, and everyone dies.
Okay.
That's what I think will happen.
Okay.
I can tell by the look on your face that's the good news you were hoping for. Like,
I would just say for all the listeners out there, including myself, what the fuck are you talking about? Nuclear fusion, what?
So a fusion drive
please
would
enlighten me a
fusion
little
drive
bit.
would basically be an engine that could harness an aspect of nuclear energy to be able to.
So basically taking a nuclear bomb and instead of
Yeah.
exploding it so a bomb explodes uncontrollably, right?
Yep.
A nuclear fusion drive would be a controlled, a consistent burst of that energy
Got
to
it.
make a ship in space move.
it's like a
in
way
space.
more
Yeah, okay.
intense version of like the internal combustion engine that we have in cars. And
Got
so
it.
because that's
Got
a
it.
controlled explosion. If
Totally.
you think about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
I mean, we have things called spark plugs
Right.
in fucking cars. You know what I mean? Like a gas tank is 3 feet from that engine.
Yep.
And like it
sketchy.
blows me
So-
away.
dude, it's so
blows
sketchy.
me away.
It's so-
How every time I start my car, I'm not blown away. I'm also like, as much as like I've loved science, I believe in science, but like I also am just blown away at the own like naivety of my own brain of just thinking just like the fact that because I'm never not blown away by anything. The fact that I can get in a car and start it and not die and then go drive 75 miles an hour perfectly safe just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed. I'm impressed by literally everything that we can do as people. I think that's why I'm not so bummed out whenever like things don't go well with like my shit. You know what I mean? Like,
you're just great.
like my phone or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like okay, whatever. Like
Yeah, but see, you're much more woosah than me.
Yeah.
I look at it, I'm like, the fuck is this device not working? We landed a rover on Mars and
Oh, you
took
know
a
what? I
picture
do
and
go
brought
that
that picture
extreme, too.
back to this planet. My fucking cell phone won't work. How the fuck does that happen?
I go that extreme too. I 100% go that extreme too.
That's the worst part about technology. When,
Oh, yeah.
Like we live and die off these devices now, and then when it goes wrong, it's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Like it's
Oh, yeah.
a disaster.
So I want to bring the conversation back, and I'm trying to remember why and how, but my earliest memory of us is just you in sunglasses sipping an IPA on the top of Neuhaus, and I don't know how we got there.
We got there. Did we meet? Did we have a meeting at Pandora first? I think that you.
Did we?
Yeah.
I can't
feel
remember.
like that was the beginning, and then we went to
Yeah, 'cause-
Newey House for a hang.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
official first hang. But we had an actual meeting.
We did.
at Pandora.
See, I
first.
forget about that.
Yeah, but I forget what artist you had because it wasn't. It
It
wasn't.
wasn't Logan.
No.
Yeah, no, I can't. Maybe it was
You
Candy.
brought in someone with you.
Candy?
Uh,
Was it a dance music act?
Fuck, maybe it was by yourself actually. But
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
now.
a couple years ago now.
But yeah, we met there, and then we hung out at Newey House, and
Yeah.
that was the first time that we hung out
Yeah, that-
outside of a
yeah, that was fun.
work setting. And then, I don't know.
Yeah, and then
became
we just
friends
became
from there.
friends, yeah. And then you took me to Crossroads, and I had an Impossible Burger, and that
That's
was the
right.
greatest thing ever.
Yep, that was your first time having an Impossible
Yeah, that was the
Burger.
first
I've still
time.
never had an Impossible Burger,
They're
by
really
the way.
good.
Dude.
And I'm the biggest meat eater on.
No, but you
ever.
can't tell the difference.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm excited to eat one because everyone that I've
should do
talked
it on
to
air.
is like, dude, you should
Let's
like,
do a video.
100%. I'm super down.
It's definitely worth. I mean, it's really good. It's
Yeah,
worth
yeah.
it. But if I had to now choose between a regular burger and an Impossible Burger, I would still go the regular burger.
for
so like a
sure.
lot of people
For
say that
sure.
it doesn't taste that it like it tastes exactly like it. I don't think it
not
actually
exactly.
does. But
Well, you know
It's
what?
pretty damn
it's,
close.
It's fucking close.
Well, but here's which is amazing to me. I'm excited to try and to be able to have something that's that close, that is such a healthier alternative. I'm all for it. I
Yeah.
think it's great. Having said that, that's also the argument that you get into with a lot of people that use like tofu and like other protein supplements in the place of meat, and they claim like, well, it tastes the same, and I'm just like, I don't eat
No.
meat because it tastes. Well, I do eat it because it tastes better,
Right.
but also it has an unmatchable texture. Like nothing is like cow. You know what I mean?
I used to believe
Like-
that. Yeah, no, I used to believe that.
Did you delete your Instagram?
Why would I ever delete my Instagram? It's like the most important aspect
I
of my
can't find
life.
it.
Yeah.
It's BL Farber.
BL.
It's BL Farber on Instagram. You
There we
can
go.
just look me up on Instagram and
I
follow
love
me.
it.
And,
well, no, because I wanted to
you see
to
what I'm
talk
doing right
about
there?
the How the Fuck Do We Do It podcast.
Oh, you want to
couldn't
talk about
remember the
that?
name.
I was
Yeah.
hoping we would talk. That's
Yeah.
okay.
No. So, for you to know, Ben recently started a podcast.
I did.
It's pretty tight.
Okay.
He has a gangster co-host.
I do.
Maybe like the four of us should go like laser tagging together.
I'm always
Like,
down for that. I'm
Marta
always
would
down
be
for
into
that.
that for
and
sure.
like
There's no
like that's
question.
like maybe you do it like with like a headset and like we record everything
We
we
can
say
do
and make that
Just
a
get some
podcast.
Zooms
I
and we'll
love
just
it.
do it. Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun, right? But
Yeah.
why don't you give Kyle a little rundown about what the podcast is?
For
'Cause
sure.
I think it's really tight.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm super excited about it. I've been wanting to podcast for a long time, and I've always wanted to do it with a co-host. There's a lot of podcasts out there that, like you guys are doing it. Like, to have a co-host is just the way to go, in my opinion, to riff off of
It
each
just
other.
keeps them. It keeps
It
them
keeps
more
it fun.
It keeps it
comfortable
fun.
and
It keeps it
consistent
cool.
dynamic.
So,
like, yeah.
Marta,
And it gives me an avenue to be sarcastic asshole to someone else other
Absolutely.
than my girlfriend.
Honestly, Bill Burr's one of the only people I can listen to talk like solo.
Yeah.
And without anyone
There's few people
interjecting.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But Marta and I have been talking for a long time. She's been a longtime friend of mine. She lives in Oakland, and I live down here in LA. So when I visit up in Oakland, we
You don't
talk
have a
about this a
Fusion
lot.
drive?
I don't have a Fusion drive, not yet. I'm working on
That
that.
commute would get a lot easier.
But one of the things that we love to talk about is positivity and how to live our best lives. Like, we're always just shooting the shit about ideas and advice. And, my whole thing that I always think about is like, how the fuck do you do certain things? Or how the fuck did certain people get to where they're at today? I've had the privilege of working in the music business for a long time, where I've, gotten to see backstage and like gotten to see how people
produce big
operate,
events.
produce big events, interview big artists. And I'm always asking myself, like,
Hang
how
out
the
with me.
fuck did this person like make the steps to get to where they're at today?
Right.
In that position. And so we wanted to kind of start this project where we talk to people about their expertise in their field, but then also to give real life actionable item advice for everyday people
Yeah.
to improve their lives.
That's awesome.
So perfect example, we talked to Sarah Wagner, who's a friend of ours.
Oh,
She
cool.
is she's a head of culture at DoorDash.
Okay.
So she's a C-suite level
Yeah.
person, but she embodies.
What's DoorDash?
DoorDash is it's like Postmates or Instacart. Like, you can order food
fun.
or Uber Eats. Same thing. And so essentially she's C-suite level, but her whole thing is she embodies and embraces her own personality in how she dresses, how she acts,
Oh,
how
yeah.
she speaks to
I
people.
love it.
So we talked to her about how do you be your authentic self at work, and to
love
give
it.
real life advice for people to
And just not being consumed by like a corporate identity.
Exactly, or
That's cool.
adjusting your personality and how you can bring that out. Or we talked to someone else. Her name is Sparkle. She's a transgender person.
She sounds tight.
She was fantastic. She's from the South and has changed up her whole identity.
I bet she's got a crazy story coming from such a conservative part of the country.
Oh my God,
and
very shy, not sure of who
Yeah.
she was, how she handled it in school, and now her name is Sparkle. She changed her name to Sparkle, and
That's
like
what's up.
she
White or
embraces
black?
that. And
fucking owning it.
yeah,
White or
so,
black?
White.
Cool.
White. And so
cool.
we talked to her about how you build self-confidence, and we've got episodes of how to eat healthy, or how to negotiate your best offer at work.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Just
so-
general like tips. Like, let's help make every day a little bit better. for all
Yeah,
of
every
us.
day. And so we
Yeah.
call it How the Fuck Do I Podcast, and you can
what's
find
up.
us on Instagram. It's How the Fuck Do I Podcast.
I love that.
And we're on all the major platforms. We're only like 4 or 5 episodes in, and we just started a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal.
great.
One
man.
of the
It's
things
great.
that I thought was really cool about the idea was, I think in this like social media heavy world, people see a lot of the final product and not necessarily the road to it, right? Back before you had social media, if you saw someone successful, there was like a general understanding of what that took from years of people kind of just talking about it, whether it's at happy hours or after work or seeing it happen. But I feel like since social media happens, people see people working from a beach or going to Aspen on the weekends or
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
whatever, and they just assume that should just happen.
Right.
And I think, or the other side of that is like you meet like a multi-billion-dollar CEO, he's just the nicest guy ever. And me and Kyle always joke like when you meet someone that's that nice thing we talk about, like Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Who's like unapologetically the nicest human being you'll ever meet. And you're like, how is someone that nice that's that successful?
Right.
And all of those things to me, I feel like are interesting touch points of like how do you become better to be that version of you, where social media almost kind of makes you more toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I first of all believe that those types of CEOs and those types of people that are nice, they got to that position because of that. A big reason because of that. And like my whole thing is respect, honesty, and trustworthiness, no matter what aspect of life you're in, work, home, social life. Like those kind of, if you embody those three things in life, to me, you will make it.
Yeah.
You know, you might not be the richest person ever, but like to me, that's success. And so like when I hear like Tom Cruise is the nicest person ever, and he's like this movie star, well, he, you know, I feel like he deserved that because he embraced that.
He's also a really, really hard worker. I mean, like on top of being an incredible talent, the dude just earned every inch of his career. Yeah. You know, and
through Scientology.
Through Scientology.
Have you guys seen Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah,
they're making another one.
Fuck yeah, really?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, they're making another Edge
No
of Tomorrow.
way.
No,
I saw
love that
some. Let me confirm.
You know what they are making a new one of that I saw today, an ad for? While you look that up, is Samuel L. Jackson's Shaft.
Oh yeah.
I'm so hyped.
Oh, nice. That'll be a good one too.
That'll be fun.
But Edge of Tomorrow is fucking badass.
Yeah, what's her name? The one in it?
Shit. What's her name?
Oh yeah, they're doing another.
What's her name?
Oh, Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt.
Edge of Tomorrow 2 release date, plot, cast, live, die, repeat. Yeah, this is a Digital Spy article that went up in the first.
Oh, I'm so hype about that. That's awesome.
No, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I read a thing about it. Yeah, so there's an article about it. If you're listening along, you want to look it up. If you like that movie, you can check it out. I just Googled it.
It's good.
So there's going to be another one coming out. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, but to your point of social media has completely filled everyone's feeds with negativity. And, false hope, which is tough.
Did you know that MIT put out a study that, like, I think people in the industry know, but it's not as widespread as I think it should be. MIT did a study that says that the chemical reaction that your brain gives you from seeing that someone liked a photo is the exact same reaction that happens. It's the same amount of dopamine that gets released when you do a line of cocaine.
That's crazy.
Is that really?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that you definitely get a high when you get a like. For sure.
I think
the
that's
fact that
also,
it's the same as cocaine is
wild.
Really scary.
I'll find the study and send it to you. It's fascinating.
Do you think that that's like? 'Cause I definitely believe that is dependent on you like being invested in that particular.
Sure, I think someone
app,
that doesn't
though,
care.
You know, like my mom, that's not going to like translate with her. You know what I mean? Or like people, you know what I mean? Or even me, like I don't. It's not like that.
Yeah.
With a lot of people, you know what I mean? In terms of like having that like addictive tendency towards social media. I'm not saying it's not there.
I think the study is based on people that care.
Yeah.
About social media. Like
so you look at like a generation and you'd be like, by and large, we took all 5,000 people that use social media above a certain amount of time a day.
I haven't read the study in a while, so I need a.
No, that's really interesting. I'm not even kind of disputing that. I'm just saying that like obviously there's people out there that doesn't really apply to, but. You know what? I think it is. They've just never really had like really, really good social media. You know what I mean? Like I've done like lines of great Instagram, and like they just need to up their Instagram. You know what I mean? Like they're just not cutting it up the right way.
I mean, Instagram is a lot of people's livelihoods these days.
100%.
Like, literally, it's like their fucking career.
It's crazy.
Right,
So,
that's
how big
crazy.
of a professional supplement it is.
But-
now.
Absolutely,
and-
and the bubble is gonna fucking burst.
Oh, it
It
absolutely
might. It might not. You don't know. I mean,
You're
I
right.
don't disagree.
No one knows. You're right.
I think my personal opinion is I think it will burst. But something that I say pretty much on every podcast is that America is 3 people old because people live up to 100. Right. So we're only 3 people old. So to say that a trend that started in our 3rd year is gonna pop, maybe this is the evolution.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe this is adolescence, right? We were in our infancy with the Industrial Revolution, maybe the digital revolution of people being able to make a living not sitting behind desks and just posting pictures on Instagram is the next era.
Yeah. I mean, we really don't know. Dude, fucking podcasting, I pretty much call this is the new blog.
100%.
That's all it is.
Well, it's more palatable. It's more accessible. You can absorb it passively while you're doing something else. You don't have to engage in it. And it's just easy to have on almost anywhere you are.
Boom. You hit a nail on the head.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly it. I want to look through my fucking Instagram and see how many likes I'm getting. Oh, and I can listen to a book.
I want to listen to podcasts. So it's like, or I want to like make my commutes in my car more productive, or I want to have something to pull focus while I'm
and
at
you
the gym.
have some
It's
really interesting ones. Alexis was just telling me about a podcast. I think it's called like The Most Boring Podcast, but basically it's this dude who has like the most he has a pretty soothing voice, and he himself had like sleep is it apnea? No, I think apnea is like a whole thing. It's like he was like having trouble sleeping. So he started doing a podcast where he just rambles about not even real stories. Apparently, it's like helping an entire community of people who can't fall asleep because like his ramblings about nothing just like lull people to
That's
sleep.
amazing.
That's
Like
amazing.
this podcast like popping for that like iteration of people.
Yeah.
So you think that's a good one to throw on like in the car when like you're on the 405
Give it a try.
like I get on the freeway, I'm like this fucking blows. What am I gonna like listen to? I'm gonna listen to that guy 100%.
Exactly.
Because I have a metal like it's not like a secret that like I'm a metal I'm like a huge metal fan.
That's a secret to me.
But,
I don't know. We can't be friends anymore.
I know. I've earned all of my money in the pop industry, but I love metal.
like who?
I go through waves.
Just give me one.
Well, metal is just so much more categoric than any other genre
No,
of
I
music
won't do
too.
metal.
That's what I'm saying. But like, if you say metal, everyone
Have you ever broken a guitar being too amped by a metal song?
No, I've never done that. I won't do it.
I will say that metal fans are probably the most passionate fans.
100%.
Oh, really?
And so
Oh, yeah.
because there's so many different types
Because
of metal.
you're working close to that genre now, right?
I am working close to that genre, but also just like being at Pandora and seeing how
Oh, yeah.
fans react on streaming services. It's like one of the most underrated streaming, categories of genre
Oh,
on these
100%.
streaming services. But you put anything out with that, and fuck, it goes wild.
So
Oh yeah, people love it.
So let's talk about that for a second. For people that don't know, you spent a large part of your career at Pandora in artist relations. And that's obviously where we met, and we touched on that earlier. Then you took 9 months off, a year?
I took 5 months off.
That was it?
That was
you
it.
went so many
Dude,
places.
I know. I went ham.
You just travel a ton.
You
and
traveled
time off,
a
like,
lot.
I
Traveled a
did.
ton, did yoga in the morning. Would
was
meet
a-
me on the beach on a bicycle.
Yeah.
He barely
I
was
love
the same
it.
person. He had like frosted blonde tips on his hair.
It was a wild time. I mean, it was a very nerve-wracking time of my life, I will say, because I was at Pandora for 5 years, which pretty much completely shifted my whole life and network. And I was in a pivotal time in my life where I was turning 30 and life was changing. And so Pandora played a very important role in all of that. And I pretty much considered Pandora my life while I was there. Unfortunately, as business changed, I was part of a mass layoff. Gotcha. And so, I probably never really would have jumped, really left. I was just, Pandora was my life. I was too happy with it. But toward the end, it was
But that's real. Like, I straight up, I don't think I knew anyone that was happier every day, every time I talked to him than Ben was. Yeah, every time.
awesome.
It's just like, look at these free snacks and look at this.
Dude, this is so dope.
It was good tech life for sure. But when all things need to change and things need to move on, and so actually it was as bummed and as upset as I was, it was actually the best possible thing that probably happened to me of them kind of like separating themselves from me. And so I was fortunate enough to comfortably take 5 months off. And
reset.
that was a total reset, and I hadn't done that in my entire career. I mean, have you guys ever been unemployed? It's like fucking crazy.
We're always unemployed. We work for ourselves.
Yeah, all right, well, fair enough. There you
I was
go.
like, I don't know
All
if
right.
you've listened to what I do for a living, man.
That's true.
I'm a professional guitar player.
But I mean, like, it was legitimately like I didn't do shit for 5 months.
No, it
like
can-
I
yeah.
literally did not do anything.
It starts to wear at you quite a bit.
I don't think I've ever done
Like-
that. Actually, I mean, obviously
that
I work.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I work on my own things. I
Right.
don't go to an office per
Well,
se.
but because we'll take like on our side of the industry, I mean, we'll take like a
2
few
weeks off in December.
month, maybe month and a half
Yep.
or so off. I mean,
But
between
never really
tours
off,
and work.
off.
You still have other things you're
Yeah, I
kind
was
of doing
gonna
in
say, you
town.
guys have side
You're talking
projects.
about
but
you're
you took you didn't
every fucking day,
off.
like-
It's crazy from last year to this year how much shit is going on with me this year compared to last year because
Yeah.
it was just like my golf game Wow, it was fucking so good, dude. I was golfing 3 days a week.
Dude, we were doing dinner like twice a week, and now I barely see him.
That's amazing.
It was an awesome time. I went to Japan. So my other buddy, who is husband with, or who is Marta's husband, him and I are also close, and so he also got laid off at the same time. So
From where?
From Pandora.
Oh wow.
He was
and
part
where
of the
was
same-
Marta?
Marta, at the time, she was at LinkedIn.
Got it.
But she also worked at Pandora.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were all
you're all Pandora fan.
Pandora fan, but actually the Riggins, their last name is the Riggins. We go back further. Tony was how I got started in the music business.
That sounds like a family in like a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
The Triggins.
Yeah.
But anyways, when we both got laid off, we were just like, let's do something like just fucking out there. And so we were, I don't know how the idea came up, but I was like, I always have wanted to like tour the Southwest. And so he's like, let's rent an RV for $17 a day start in Phoenix and drive up to the Grand Canyon and then up to Moab, Utah, and like just chill in this RV. And we were just bumming.
Love it.
Fucking ramen, making like just
And you loved
Oscar. It was great. It was like, dude, it was like one of those times where it's like, man, my life is definitely like in a weird place, and I'm just gonna bum and chill and enjoy it. And it was like a perfect set off for like my unemployment.
How'd your parents feel?
That's a great question, actually. I mean, obviously my mom was bummed. I mean,
She's a Jew, so she's Jewish mom wearing.
I mean, and she's a career woman as well. So
God,
obviously she was very, but at the same time, it was like out of my control, out of everyone's control.
Right. It's not like you quit
Exactly. And
or got fired. Even it's not like you did something wrong.
Correct. So I was able to financially support myself for some time, which was very helpful. So, she was like, take your your couple months or do what you need to do. I would say, but toward the end, I was like, I'm not going to call my mom today. She's definitely going to be like, so what's the job situation?
Right? Yeah.
But,
How many interviews did you go on a day? And be like, I don't know. I'm in Colorado.
Dude, let me tell you though, man.
Because I was going to say, when you did start looking,
it was tough.
I mean, we'd be on the phone and like talk. I think I gave a few references.
You probably did, yeah.
Well, with the Live Nation one. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a few openings that like connected through Keith. But I mean, I think it was probably like I was honestly shocked because it was like Ben's resume alone should have like landed him a job like any moment that he went looking for one.
It was a humbling experience.
Yeah, for sure.
It really was because to be honest with you, I did have a little cockiness in me of like,
right.
I came from Pandora. I've done digital marketing.
This
and
layoff
streaming.
was a fluke. I'll land right back on my feet where I want to be.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I had great opportunities with some pretty big tech companies, and I went through. One of the processes that I went through took me 10 solid interviews.
That's crazy.
But toward the end, I was like, there's no question. No, that was way before, and we can talk about that for sure. But this was another one. I don't want to mention.
Yeah. I know which one that is.
Yeah. But I ended up. I was like, oh, I have this job. It's in the bank.
I know exactly which one this is. Then
and it didn't happen for me.
Dang,
and
man.
it was like it was a very like fuck, man. It was like a gut-wrenching thing, and it just kind of like brought me down to earth. Was like, dude, I can never assume that I'm just gonna like get anything no matter what, matter what level I'm at or wherever. So that was like a very humbling experience. And it was a grind. I mean, it's not easy to find a job. A lot of people, like I'll never recommend someone to just leave a job because they're unhappy. Just don't fucking do it. It's such a bad idea,
especially
in this time.
today's climate. Like
100%. And now you're at Warner running their digital promotion.
Yeah, so Warner, this job came up, and I was fortunate enough to get this job at the beginning of August last year. I joined the sales and streaming team to focus on primarily on rock, alternative, indie, and singer-songwriter. So we're kind of divided and structured like the streaming services are. They have their label relations people, and then they have their editorial people. I came in to kind of be that editorial leg, so focusing on playlisting and marketing opportunities, and essentially our goal is my goal is to be on the other side of what I was doing at Pandora, to get as much out of them, out of these services as possible, because that's where all of the money is coming from into the labels these days. So my goal is to go and get as much visibility and playlisting.
And is Warner still in Burbank?
Until 2 days from now.
Wow, so we really nailed the timing of this
This was
podcast.
I was thinking about it on my way over. I was like, I probably wouldn't have done this if I would.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's really exciting. So we're moving downtown into this new beautiful building.
Because that's a big change for you, right? Because you went from living in Mar Vista.
I was living in Culver City.
In Culver City, yeah.
Yep.
And then you bought a place in downtown. After you got this job, right?
After I got this job,
right.
yeah.
So and you already knew that they were moving downtown, so it was kind of like a 1 + 1 = 5.
Yeah, well, what's funny is, and I don't know, my boss might listen to this or not, but he did say like, oh yeah, we're moving in a month before I got the job. So I was like, oh okay, I can do a month of driving from Culver City to Burbank.
Right.
Yeah, no, it kept getting pushed back. So for the last 6 months, I was driving back and forth from Culver to Burbank.
You know how many times I go to Culver City? You know how many times I've been to Culver City since I've lived in Los Angeles? I've been in LA for 5 years.
I bet you can count on one hand.
The times I've been to Culver City.
I drive here almost daily now from Marina Del Rey.
Yeah, from Marina,
Dude,
yeah.
Wow. Props to you for doing that, man.
I agree. I wouldn't fucking do
That's
it.
I know he won't
Yeah,
come to me.
absolutely.
This is a mobile setup. This is not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but, like,
this
this
is
is-
also a legit setup. Like,
Yeah, this is like,
Don't pander to him.
what a real. It's not pandering if like I have like literally like 6 figures of like put in a studio to like record. I'm not gonna take this shit to your fucking apartment now. Like it's not gonna happen.
I think that makes the most sense.
I'll come to your apartment to spend time with you and Alexis.
Oh, will you?
And eat food. I've done it several times.
That's fair. You have.
But I'm just like, I don't, because my whole thing is it's just like, I don't, fucking move your phone. Like, either put a case on it or stop putting it in your wallet because it keeps falling.
Also, it's been ringing
loud.
and texting the
It's
entire
just-
time we've been
It's
talking.
just like, it's like a foot away from my arm and it's fine, but like, literally every time you pick up your phone, you put it back on your uneven, bulky wallet and it slides off and falls. And so just not on the wallet. Yep. There we go. Not on the wallet.
Wallet's
Thank
off the
you.
table now.
I just socially pressured Matt into throwing his belongings over onto the couch.
Onto the broken couch.
Sorry, you guys had to hear that.
Wow.
I'm not sorry. I want people to see Kyle's rage.
See who
I
I,
was gonna
really
say,
am.
so Kyle, are you okay? Is all good? Like,
Fine
are you
now.
okay? All right, good.
Yeah.
Good. Just want to make sure.
I don't know. I mean,
Marina's nice though.
I'm nervous to bring. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind. I don't care recording anywhere. 'Cause, I mean, we did the episode at the roastery.
Totally.
Like the sound is not even close to being ideal there, but it's cool because it makes people feel like we're actually like on location. You can hear.
But
shit
also
going
not
background.
music, right?
But it's also not. Yeah, it's also not that. But then I'm nervous to like leave and go to like an apartment or something like that because it's like, well, if we get a little too loud and laughing or whatever, and like someone like knocks on the door, like, hey man, can you keep it down? Or like if we hear someone from,
I would
like,
bring him
next
in.
door, you know what I mean?
I'd bring him in.
And be like,
yo, you're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
You're on now, man. Like,
You're
what's your
live,
favorite?
dude.
What's
Come
your
on
favorite
in.
Marvel movie? And if you say I don't know, I'm gonna kick you out. Like,
Do you watch Marvel movies?
Of course, I love Marvel
Yeah.
Oh,
movies.
did you see Captain Marvel yet?
No, but everyone has seen it except for me. I'm assuming you guys already saw it as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've already done an episode on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It comes out Friday.
I heard that it's really good.
it's good. I mean,
How much do you
overall-
want me to say?
I would say overall it's good.
Yeah.
But you, especially, I
For
don't
me,
know.
there's some major plot writing
I mean,
errors.
For sure. Depending on how big of a like MCU and comic fan you are, you'll be able to pick certain things apart. But it doesn't mean that overall it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty noticeable things in it that you're like,
Yeah.
they should have like
I mean,
tied that up. But
the Marvel movies recently, ever since they went to Disney, it's really kind of fallen off for me.
No, they've all been Disney.
Have they all been
They've
Disney?
all been Disney.
Then they've fallen off for me regardless. Like, I don't know. They haven't
Which
been
one
as
specifically?
good. Help me out with ones that have come out
I'd say
recently.
this is an unpopular opinion, but Black Panther was culturally relevant, but cinematically not great.
that's what a lot of people were kind of saying about it. I love Black Panther, but more recently
Infinity War was
We've
amazing.
had
but
Infinity War, we've had Black Panther, we had
Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Guardians
Okay,
of the
so
Galaxy
there
2,
we
we had
go.
Ragnarok.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2
Thor
was in.
Ragnarok
yeah, so
was,
those ones, the
yeah.
Ragnarok, Doctor Strange, not good.
You didn't like those?
Nope.
You didn't like Ragnarok?
No.
I love
I thought it was
Ragnarok.
like one of the most well-rounded Marvel
Guardians of
movies.
the Galaxy
Like,
2,
No, that one I
Nope.
agree with.
not into that one.
He loves
man,
it.
I thought it's I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
No,
but,
but I'm with you on that. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 didn't
Yeah,
do it for me.
Infinity War brought it back for me
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
So
yeah,
like
that's,
the one major error in Captain Marvel, which has nothing to do with the story, so I'm just going to tell you,
Yeah.
is that they call it Shield, and in the timeline, it's not Shield yet. as per like what happens
really?
in Iron. So Iron Man
because it takes place in the early 90s.
Yeah, it takes place in the early
Yeah.
90s. Iron Man takes place in 2007.
Okay.
And in Iron Man, they don't call it S.H.I.E.L.D. to the end of the movie.
That's right.
Well,
Right.
and Agent Coulson, there's
Well,
also
he
a big
says-
plot point to say, like, throughout the whole movie, with him, every time he talks to Pepper and everyone's like, we
Yeah.
still haven't come up with a name yet.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. That's the whole thing. They did the whole thing. Like, literally the first movie that you made, you established this as a plot point that you're making a joke around. You're using it as a plot device to
Right,
kind
and
of
then they
help
just
develop.
completely didn't care about it.
Yeah,
Because-
that sucks because that
Yeah.
was a really great way. Because like I didn't get it until he was like, "We just call it
Just
Shield."
call it
I was
Shield, and you're like, "Oh, shit."
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then,
Exactly.
But then we went off on like a linear conversation about the timeline of Shield, and now we're confused as to which movie fucked up, because is Captain Marvel actually wrong by not adhering to the continuity
I think
error that they
Iron Man
established in
fucked up.
Iron Man? But I agree with you. So that's what we started talking about. I
Because
think Iron Man fucked
Tony's
up.
dad created S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
in the
because Shield's
40s.
been around the 40s since Hydra was a thing.
Oh, that's right.
And they
Right, from the
probably
TV
would have
show.
called
That's
it
right.
Shield. They probably would have called it Shield, to be honest with you, because even in the Captain Americas, you go back and you look at old literature,
And they
old
call it
logos,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
you see text and you see images of Shield as an acronym, and so you're like, it's been well established since then. So I think they overstepped their
So right
their,
off the
their
bat,
bounds.
they fucked up.
Yeah, they overstepped their bounds a little bit.
And
in
no
Iron
one would
Man.
have known until this movie.
Yeah, clearly.
But people, how many fucking countless articles we already read about Captain Marvel? No one's talking about that.
Yeah,
But
it's so
people are just
funny.
like, shh, just like right over their
Everyone's
heads,
just like the biggest issues that people are having, which aren't issues, or that like they don't think it's like female empowered enough.
they're
Which
like,
I think
she
is like
wasn't a
stupid
powerful
shit.
enough female character.
Yeah,
Whatever.
stupid.
I'm like,
It's just like Me Too people like
it's not
being
a social.
retards.
It's not a
Yeah,
social
that's-
commentary. It's a fucking comic book movie.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
it just-
Black Panther was the only one that probably really bridged a cultural gap into the MCU,
Right.
which is what a lot of like comic fans actually had a gripe, because they're like, yeah, we get that it's culturally significant, but
Yeah.
like you could have done a better movie for our story.
I mean,
you know.
we live in a society today where everyone is hypersensitive about everything. You're always
Super
gonna, no
sensitive,
matter
yeah.
what, you're gonna have opinions about she wasn't badass enough,
Totally.
or there wasn't enough black people in this movie. It's like no matter what, you're always gonna get that.
Did
like,
you-
there's nothing you can do about it.
Did you like? Are you excited for Endgame?
Endgame.
That's a new Avengers movie.
Oh
coming up.
yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
I've been a fan of the
April
Avengers
26th.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pumped for that.
Dude, we should go see it together.
Well,
I
that's
think we
fun.
should.
April 26th. Let's do it.
I'd
we'll
be
meet
down for that.
We'll meet in Hollywood.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll go to the
Chinese theater.
Yeah, we can do Chinese theater. I love going to movies at Grauman's.
I haven't been there in a while, actually. So
I
that'd
haven't
be
been
kind
there
of fun.
since Civil War.
Yeah. Oh,
I went
okay.
for Civil War.
That's a good one.
I don't remember the last movie I saw there, but I like it. It's I love going to movies there.
Yeah,
We'll do it. We'll
Do
go
you
get
guys
some
still
food.
go to a lot of movies?
Yeah, we got a pretty decent amount of
Yeah, well,
movies.
because I have a. Do you know what AMC Stubs is?
Is that no? What is that? Is
It's
that
kind of
mo-
like a movie pass.
I was gonna say, is
Yeah.
that movie
So it's-
pass?
so
It's the
AMC
official movie pass.
Yeah, so like obviously Movie Pass like the small tech company,
Right.
But AMC Stubs is AMC theaters, $20 a month, 3 movies a week.
Got it.
At any AMC, including IMAX and 3D.
Got it.
So it's
It's
great.
great.
And I actually use it sometimes.
It was a great sponsorship plug.
Oh, here's the best.
Well, I'm going to
plug-in.
edit out their name because they haven't paid us a fucking dollar
Oh,
yet.
fuck that. Yeah, get that out of here.
So
No, just
in
kidding.
you ever go to the Century City Mall?
Oh yeah,
So you know like
it's
Parking-
beautiful now, by the way.
parking gets pretty expensive after the first hour, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a movie ticket, first 3.5 hours are free.
That's true.
So because I have the thing, if I know I'm not going to go to movies that week, I just buy a movie ticket and validate
Oh,
the
that's
parking.
great.
That's amazing.
That's a nice little
You know,
loophole.
and you know the product is good when we'll talk about it for free and like fully endorse it and just be like, it's good enough.
That's
we're just
when you
gonna,
know shit is
We're just going
good.
to put our own personal opinions out there and say it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been $10, $15, $20 a month to death with subscriptions and perks and add-ons and things like that. And so like I kind of have to like start drawing the line of just like, okay, how many like legitimately like additional things can I add
so
on to my
many-
budget?
so
You know
many
what I mean? And
subscriptions.
so it's like, cause Matt's definitely like put together like this great little package of like subscription and like membership services and things like that you use. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm kind of like able to take advantage of when we go do stuff together. But then like I also have to have like a lot more like logistical things to support me. Like I pay a lot for like Dropbox and like plugins and like mixing subscriptions and things like that, just because of just like it's easily justifiable because that's how I make money. But,
No, without a doubt.
but
We
I would
also
love to
are-
have, I'd love to have the AMC thing, but I'm just, got to draw a line somewhere. Like,
I mean,
$20 a
we're
I know.
$20 a month.
everything's $20 a month, man.
I mean, I feel like we are continuing to live in a society that's just straight subscription.
Yeah.
Like the other day,
I
one
said
of my
that in 2015. I said
yeah,
that.
like one of my girlfriends, we went on this trip over this
Are
weekend.
you Mormon?
One of your current
One of
girlfriends?
well, I call all my girls my girlfriends.
Ooh,
They're
nice.
just all my girlfriends.
Very progressive of you.
That's
You know,
very progressive
That's
of
just
you.
what I do, I guess. But
That's very San Francisco Jewish of you.
we went up to the mountains this weekend, and she was wearing this coat that she doesn't own, and she was saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm part of this service where you can pick 4 pieces of clothing, and they'll send it to you, and you can keep it for as long as you want, and then you can just switch out the 4 things of clothing."
Wait, I want this service. What is it called?
Oh fuck, man, I forgot. I'll get the name from
Interesting.
it.
I use another service that's like $80 a month, and they send me, as per like my style guide that I created with them, like $150 worth of clothes a
Yeah.
month for $80.
That's great.
And it's great. And then if you don't like it, you just ship it back and they send you new shit.
Yeah.
It's great. But like,
Dude,
you
it's
keep
great.
that. I'm curious what this like
But she was
loner-
telling me like she had an important business meeting, so she ordered a dress for that
That's
important
so
business
tight.
meeting
Awesome.
that was like really expensive, and
That's
so
super
it just
cool.
made me think like everything is going to just start being a subscription or rental.
love
Well, I
it.
mean,
like-
we're already there. Like anything that you want
could be a subscription.
is a subscription
Yeah,
if you look for it.
You
True,
could get
true.
everything as a subscription now for sure.
You could. Tom Segura
Even
has
Uber
an
has a subscription service now.
yeah.
Yeah, Tom Segura has an amazing bit about this in his most recent Netflix special. To talk about, it's just like we're 5 years away from never leaving our house.
Yep.
And
Have you watched the movie The Surrogate?
I think
With Bruce
so.
Willis?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while, but I
seen
think
it.
I've seen it.
Basically,
Wait,
it's
hold
like-
on. What were you gonna say about?
We tangent a
yeah,
lot.
hold on.
Yeah,
a
we
sec.
tangent a lot.
I appreciate that, but wait, I'm kind
Well,
of
no,
curious.
Tom Segura is. I mean, obviously he was making a joke out of it, but because it was in a stand-up special. But what he said was like really true. It's just like we're 5 to 10 years away from never leaving our house again. And I'll tell you, the number one indicator that I see is beds that sit up for you. Because you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, I don't even want to sit up. I just and then you sit up, and then there's gonna be a mechanical arm that come out, and you go food, and it comes out and just shoves a fucking hamburger
I
in
mean,
your
I
face.
don't think Wally was very
And then you
much
go,
off, dude.
and then you go, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you go, shit, and then the bed opens, and you go, bow, and you just fucking wipe it, and you go, oh yeah, I'm tired, and then you lay back down and you just live your whole fucking life there, like because he talks
That's
about he's like
horrifying.
you can order anything you want online, and I know you're probably thinking like, yeah, like I shop online a little bit, I order for some things. It's like no, you don't understand. You can, if you want to, never leave your house and go, I want hammers and I want bananas and I want an eagle's beak, and then Amazon's like, it's on your fucking doorstep. You don't have to leave your house to see people. You should. You don't have to. You just hold up that same thing in your hand that you used to order the food, and you're like, hi. And then whenever you're ready to be done talking to him, you go, bye, and you just hang up. This is his whole bit. You can tell how big of a Tom Segura fan I is because I am, because I just word for word spewed that whole thing up.
I love it.
But like,
You're
yeah.
not wrong though. He's not wrong.
No,
either.
100%. Well, first of all, it sticks with me because I'm a legitimate fan of Tom's, and I think he's hilarious. I love his style of comedy, but also what he said was actually really impactful because you're like, yeah, that's a real thing. We actually currently live in that world right now.
It's
you
true.
know,
I
we're
just did. Marta, my co-host, works at Instacart, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
for the first time ever, I fucking hate going to the garage the
You
grocery
don't like
store
going to the garage?
in the garage.
Is that like a fuck? What's it called? Like a like when you're scared of spiders. What's like there's like a term.
like you're arachnophobic.
Yeah, but
like
like-
you're saying
oh,
like you
your
have a phobia.
phobia,
Like you have a
thank
phobia.
you.
Yeah.
Phobia.
Yeah. Anyways, I hate going to the grocery store, and so she was like, "Oh, you got to use Instacart. Give it a try." Fucking went online. I did all my grocery shopping online in an hour. All my groceries are just outside the door.
And you're like, no way.
I'm like, holy shit! This is like, I don't ever have to go to the grocery store again.
That's
Boom.
awesome. My
It's crazy.
sister started doing that. The first time I ever heard of that was like 10 years ago or something like that. My sister lived in Alexandria, Virginia, and her
Works
apartment.
for the government.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
She used to work for the GAO, but
Under Obama?
I don't remember what administration, how long like of an overlap there was there. I mean, it was definitely like
Not Trump.
leading up to no. So her apartment was like above like a nice grocery store, and they had a service for people to live there that you could just order your shit online, and then someone would just bring it up to your apartment. So
That's really lazy.
Come on.
that was
Would you go to the grocery store if it was in your building?
Yes.
No, but that was the first time I ever heard of that though, because she was like, I'll go online and like I'll order before I leave to come home for the day, and then whenever I get home, they are delivered whenever I get there, and so I don't have to take time out of my day to
That's
go do it.
fine.
It's great.
The
Yeah.
problem is if you're home and you're like, I just don't want to go downstairs.
Oh, that's me, man. And me not wanting to go places and
That's
have
why
anything.
you have a one-story home. And I totally get it.
Exactly. Like me not wanting to go places or do things doesn't have anything to do with the location or the activity. It has everything to do with the fucking. I hate the general public. Like I just fucking hate people,
Including our fans.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't hate a person, but I hate
Masses.
people. I hate people. I hate groups of people.
Yep.
So you don't like New York City?
No, I don't like LA. I don't like any city. I don't like fucking Bentonville, Arkansas. Like I don't like any city. Like anywhere where anyone lives and I have to go interact with more than 10 of them at a time.
It's
I
just
don't
not your
like.
thing.
I
Yeah.
don't like. I'm not introverted either.
You don't seem that way at all. That's for sure.
No.
That's great.
No, not even a little bit.
But you are just a woodsman.
I like to
through
keep
and
to
through.
myself. Like,
yeah,
I
I always say he's a woodsman. Like I just see him log cabin, cutting down some trees, making a steak, cutting down some more trees.
He's already doing that out there.
Yeah,
He's got a whole
everyone
fucking
that comes
project
into like
outside.
the nice studio
Dude,
walks
check
through the
this.
very dirty shop outside.
Yeah.
So Kyle makes every piece of furniture in my home. Kyle's made.
Wow.
And here, so check out the latest one. So he just made us a new coffee table, which is pretty incredible.
Well, I need to see that because I need a new coffee table. So we should talk about. Dude, that is
I'm your
sick.
guy.
So right now I'm looking at a wood coffee table
Okay.
that's glass top. And then underneath, there's like storage for, it looks like magazines and books right now,
Yep,
but you could
magazine
probably
rack.
also put records down there,
Yeah,
which
so-
would be fucking sick. And they're like tilted up so you can see it right
so
through
this
the
is how
glass.
it actually is in the house with records.
How do I get one of these? This is sick, dude.
Yeah, just order it.
I want one
Put
of
it
these.
in order.
Yeah, we'll put it in
like
order.
give me like
HeroDesigns.org.
put it in order on the podcast, and once we release it, it'll be a binding agreement, a contract.
Done.
You'll be obligated to put down a deposit.
Done. I'll do it. I'll do it. This is very cool, man.
No, yeah,
That's
but
really
I've
rad.
done like like off air. I'll show you a bunch more stuff, and just kind of like if you need anything, just let me know. Like I work best from someone letting me know that they have an idea and be like, here's a couple of examples of coffee tables that I like, and just send me photos, and I'll go, okay, let me design something. I'll give you the final say so before it's finished, and then I'll
Yeah.
knock it out.
That's
you know?
an awesome
Last
side
year
project.
we started a little company called Hero Designs.
Oh, okay. Bless you.
And so HeroDesigns.org is me and Kyle's like woodworking site.
I like
so
that.
I do the business. He does all the wood.
Man, Hero's
woodmanship.
becoming like an empire, man.
That's
Yeah.
the hope.
I
That's
like
the
that.
hope.
We don't really
dude.
push the woodworking thing a ton right now, just because of the time consuming nature of getting of the product development from like in a woodworking company is a lot different from like a podcast, and so
Without a doubt.
We do friends and family.
for sure we kind of do word of mouth right now. I mean, like I think we both love for it to take off a little bit more, but like I'm gonna need a lot more time in town to be able to crank out some orders.
Yeah, but it's great to just add. I mean, like these days, it's always good to just have
Handful
side
of stuff every
projects
now and then.
Yeah, man.
It's great,
Like,
you
and
know,
you're
I can
putting it
fit in
under
the
a great
gaps.
umbrella. Like,
Yep.
who knows where it'll go? Maybe it won't go anywhere. Maybe it takes off. You know,
Yeah,
like,
we
but
don't.
it's cool. It's
we
there.
tend to not put expectations on stuff, but if we can see that something's working, we pour a lot of gas on the
I
fire.
put
As you should.
expectations on Kyle.
I believe that.
Yeah, that's
Put
different.
a lot of expectations
Yeah.
around a
Well, it's
lot of
'cause
people.
I'm-
You're a manager, bro.
I'm not. we're in an abusive relationship. I'm not going to leave because of Stockholm syndrome. And so, you're taking advantage of the fact that you know I'm going to stay.
Yeah. So
And
wait a
that's what
second.
it is.
How the fuck did you guys meet?
Through Logan.
We met through Logan.
Through Logan.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
great. So you were playing for Logan.
Yeah, I got called whenever he wanted to start.
we
doing
talked about
shit.
this
Yeah.
on like the first episode.
I
gotta-
feel like this has been answered, but I
No,
just
no,
need
no,
to
no,
know.
We
Great.
haven't talked about it in a while because most people just don't give a shit.
Yeah. So basically, I get a call from Logan's mom, who like is like a momager, but like really helpful on the team. Gives me a call. He's like, "Hey, so I have this like church guitarist that I want you to meet, who I think would be a really good fit for Logan." And this is like before they start playing, and Kyle likes to very, very clearly, and I'll let him take it from here. But
I instantly got offended when he called me a church guitarist.
Yeah.
I immediately got offended. I was like,
Yeah.
but that's
like-
what I was told.
No, but then he was like, well, but that's what was said to me, and I'm just like, well, you know what? Then good on you. I really appreciate you taking a shot on me. If that's the fucking description you were given,
Yeah.
I really appreciate who you are, because I've literally not hired guys in auditions whenever they come in and I ask what they do and who they play for, and the first word of your mouth out is a church. I'm like, you don't know how this works. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you get the fuck out of here right now. And so
Well, the reason I did is because like Pam is really religious. So, like,
Oh, yeah.
I took her, like, if she's down for someone that plays, like, I assumed her critical, like, interpretation of someone that played in church would be, like, major league material because
That's
of
really
her
funny.
faith.
That's awesome.
So that's where I was coming
No, I
from.
get it. I get it. You were assuming the best in the situation.
Totally.
And,
I mean, Pam's a doll, so
like,
you have to.
luckily for you, I really fucking worked out, and so
Yeah, I mean, I think also it was, like, I was told that. And
Yeah.
out of respect for Pam and Logan, I came to take the meeting, and then you come into this room, and instantly I'm like, okay, there's probably more to the story than what I know, because I would assume a regular church guitarist does not have 15 designer guitars on display.
Yeah.
So maybe I should hear him out.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so, the sad truth is a lot of the church guys do have like handfuls of like really high end boutique gear, but that's because they work 9 to 5s and they just spend all their extra money on gear and they put it on Instagram and they're like, look, I do what you do. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Like,
why,
you
why
absolutely
did you
do
do
not.
it? Why did you play for a church?
Well, okay. So here's I mean,
He's super religious.
it only goes one way because like you can't like, in my opinion, you can't be like you can't identify and be like, I'm a worship guitar player and then break out into mainstream secular touring worlds and have success, because there's a lot of assholes like me who just aren't going to take you seriously because you haven't really learned the ropes of how the industry actually works. I'm not going to babysit you and all of your bullshit guitar tones and your methods for how you want to act on stage. It's like I'm not in the business of this, and so. But there's a lot of guys like me, and like as a Christian, like enjoy like serving at the churches that I'm a part of and playing, and like a lot of the times like it supplements my income in between tours and things like that. But a lot of guys do it as well. Like they'll do like the quote unquote like church gig thing, and they'll just like when they don't have other work, they'll go play. Like churches will hire pro players to come in like when they're not on tours to have good people on stage. Because like, and there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A lot of guys abuse that. And then also a lot of guys don't take advantage of the fact that you could be, supplementing your income through a house of worship because you're providing a service. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of different ways to dissect that. But, I kind of came up in that. It was easy for me, but I had also always first been like an industry secular musician of like I went through and like cut my teeth properly in sessions, tours, like all the right rooms, and then the church was always like a side thing. But a lot of guys identify and they're like, well, I'm a church guitar player, and I'm like, that's great. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But we're not the same.
Yeah, no. The reason why
offense. Offense. I'm being very prideful and egotistical about it. And yes, offense. Like we're not the same.
The reason why I ask is because one of my artists, Gary Clark Jr.
Oh my God, I'm a huge Gary Clark Jr. fan.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, well, he's an Austin guy. I've seen him.
He's an Austin guy.
I've seen him a ton. Because I'm a big Tedeschi Trucks fan. He's open for them a lot.
Oh,
and
okay, dope.
I saw him at the Greek last. But anyway, I'm a big Gary Clark Jr. fan.
Awesome.
Huge
Love
Gary
hearing
Clark Jr.
that. He's been like my main priority since I've joined Warner Brothers,
That's
which is
right.
fucking
Really cool.
awesome and really cool. But one of the things that he talked about was he started playing guitar at like 12, 13, and his mom was like, or his parents, I guess, both were like, if you want to continue playing guitar, you need to play for the church.
Exactly.
And so
Well,
was
that's a very common story, and I'm not dismissing that. I'm talking about like the quote unquote like the session player,
right?
The guy, like the 22-year-old like kid with like an expensive pair of like designer boots and skinny jeans and a jacket, and he has like a $4,000 boutique guitar and he's posting on Instagram, and it's just like I am gonna like put those guys in their place because I work a hell of a lot fucking harder to get where I am in my industry than you do to walk into a church that your pastor put people on the seats for, and you're playing rock star and you're thinking that all those people there to see you, and in reality they you didn't even fucking know who you are.
Right.
Like I worked infinitely harder than you can even fathom to get to where I am in my career than you did to just be a church guitar player. So you don't get to take the same level of pride in our craft as I do.
And they didn't write guitar riffs for Run DMC.
Yeah, it's true. Also haven't been a co-producer and writer for Daryl McDaniels, and so
That's awesome.
among like lots of other people, but like Daryl's like one of the coolest because he's also a huge comic book nerd.
Yeah, so Daryl's putting out a record on Hero.
Oh, very exciting. That's
and
dope.
Kyle did a lot of the guitar work on it.
Oh, shit. That's big,
Yeah.
man.
It was one of the
Damn.
most wild things I've ever seen in my life because like I've gotten to the point to where I can kind of walk into a room and like I know my craft well enough technically now to where you can kind of input some variables. I figure out the best way to combine them, and I output your result of what you hired me to do. You know,
yeah.
I compare myself to a plumber a lot, saying it's like you have a your your plumbing and all of your appliances, your things in your house. You know how you want them to work and how you want to use them. There's something wrong. I know how to come in and make them better and fix them for you to use them. And so that's how I view my career as a session player and a hired gun. But
just so you know, Kyle's wife just left, so he had to go back cave and watch the sun. On
yeah,
Oh, got it. Oh, is
that's
that
what I
what
was doing on
that
my phone. Yeah, I was opening my baby monitor on
love
my
that.
phone. I wasn't just like
I
distracting.
saw you like figuring it out.
No, I
No,
was
because
like,
it's hard to engage with someone when they're focused on their phone, and
of
that's
course.
a big pet peeve of mine too. But my wife's leaving to go meet a friend, and our son's asleep, and so I just had to open
You
the
gotta
baby
watch
monitor.
that. That's
to
very
make sure.
important. That's number one.
That is number one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's set that up so- okay, there we go. We all
are a
got the
big
view.
Ellis fan. Ellis is the best.
He is.
Yeah,
he's
he's
awesome.
he's awesome.
He was
so.
staring me down when I walked in.
Oh,
Yeah.
he wanted your
Whoa.
food.
Is that what he wanted?
Yeah,
he
he's
wanted my
he's-
chai.
He's
Yeah.
always very pensive with new people, and he's trying to kind of
understandable.
like weigh him out. Just like it's
He's like Albus Dumbledore.
yeah, for sure. Like, why are you here? Like, what? Like, we can be close if you want, but like,
Right.
you gotta
But you're
bring
gonna
me
have to
something.
earn it.
You have to earn it.
Totally.
Because you can tell that he's very outgoing once he gets comfortable with who you are. Because he
100%.
wanted you to just clear his plate for him.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he was like, Matt, take my plate, please.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, master.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He can get a little demanding. We're in the toddler phase now. He'll be 2 in April. And
Oh,
so
man, okay.
We're getting there, and no, being a parent's super fun. But
He's getting to that age of like, I call like parenting like 2-to-1 for presidency. So he's in like his first year still as being a president.
Mm-hmm.
When he goes into like year 3, his hair will start graying. You know, like
Yeah.
like by year 8. Which is like a first full term of president.
Yeah.
He'll start like having like half a head of gray hair.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I
I'm
was-
ready to embrace the Silver Fox lifestyle.
As you
so
should, man.
I'm all
I mean,
right
you're a
with it.
dad now.
100%, man. I
have to.
have everything else. I have
Yeah.
everything
I mean, I
else.
was talking about it with Marta because she's obviously she has a mom.
She's a mom?
She's a mom of
Oh,
a 7-year-old.
amazing.
Oh, 7-year-old? Wow.
So she is like
What's the kid's name?
Levi.
Love it.
he's
You know
the
my
man.
middle name's Levy.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know
Love
that.
Le- I went by Levi when I was being rebellious to my mom.
Oh man, I love that. He's an awesome kid.
Jew-mom put the hammer down on that, though.
Your mom was
Probably- yeah.
like 6 months tops, and then she was like, and then she's
Sure.
like, "You want me to pay for college, or do you want to be Levi?" And I was like, "I want you to pay for college."
It's amazing. No, but what we were talking about is being parents, but then also continuing to live your own lives. So like her
yeah.
and Tony, God, I feel like I'm just talking about the Riggins.
The Riggins are the
That's
hot
great.
shit right
Yeah,
now.
They're the
Love
hot
it.
shit. But they do a lot of date nights. Like Levi will go with the grandparents, and they'll
Love
like have
it.
date nights. And they, she was talking like a lot of parents are very judgmental about that to them, and
Really?
like
Fuck
yeah.
them.
Well, and
You mean in such a
Jealous
liberal
more.
city of San Francisco, people are demonizing them for taking time for themselves?
yes, yeah.
That is
apparently
mind-blowing
it's kind
to
of
me.
like like
Well, if
but-
Marta listens, like, tell her if Marta's listening, fuck those other people.
Well, I mean, that's what we came to the conclusion of is like,
Yeah,
it
we got
might
their back
just
all
be
day.
that these people are just not finding time for themselves.
they're
That
jealous.
yeah, exactly.
100%. They're
Exactly.
like, how did you do this?
There's
and
a lot of
Marta just goes,
projecting, like-
because I'm smart and live in a place where my parents live, so I can drop the kid off. And you're
Right.
an idiot who lives halfway across the country, and your parents aren't in town, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's like, don't make the fact that your life isn't like mine my problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm
sorry.
my
But she was also talking about like Levi from like 1 to 5. Like that's a very tough time for a parent.
Oh,
You have to
that's
be on
different.
at all times.
Yeah.
But then when they start to hit a certain age, it's
That's
like
what I was just
okay,
thinking about
now
too,
that-
because it's like,
When I was younger,
you're in that period
Yeah,
of-
when I was
Yeah.
younger, I babysitted a family that had a 4, 6, and 8-year-old.
yeah.
All at once, all boys. It was
Wow.
it was
That's-
a party.
That's a party.
Damn.
It was a party.
man.
But like they would go out every Saturday night, and like that was like my Saturday night when I was like in high school.
Yeah.
Right. And there was no problem. Like they were successful doctors, and they wanted to go have a night out every week for themselves. And like,
great,
who
yeah.
cares? 4, 6, and 8. Like, go do your thing.
Yeah.
My buddy Ilya, who lives in Boston still, him and his wife have a newly born Maxton. I'm the godfather. Dude's a gangster. Love
Nice.
Max.
That's awesome.
how are you a Jewish godfather?
Well, it's not technically Godfather, but like you know who I am and like my personality, Godfather.
Right, okay.
Right. Yeah, like
Is this,
Mufasa
is
father.
this a self-appointed title? Or are they okay with it? Like,
I mean, I was the best man in the wedding.
okay, so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. I signed the ketubah. If you know what that is, he has no idea what that
I've
is.
never even heard that word.
Ketubah is
no
like
idea.
the Jewish contract for a wedding.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I'm
so-
self-appointed, but like
Gotcha.
cleared Godfather. And he's like 6 months old, and they drop him off at the parents and do date nights all the time.
That's cool.
Right? Because the parents almost want the baby more than the parents do.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if they live in the same town.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like
when Amanda and I go home now to visit parents, like
they're like, go out, go
just
have a night out. I want to watch them.
Honestly, we didn't even make your bed up. Like, we just give us him, and you can, I don't know, you can stay here if you want. Like, it's totally that. Like, when you have kids, your parents, who are now the grandparents, are just like...
Because that, I mean, in fairness, that must be, like, the most amazing feeling in the world. Like, there's no feeling...
I guess, yeah.
I'm assuming that there's no feeling in the world better than seeing your offspring.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right?
I'm
like
sure.
like that.
It has to be. I mean, it's like a reassurance of like, okay,
Of pride.
Yeah, my family tree is
The
going to
lineage,
continue.
yeah.
Yeah.
For a while.
Which is why...
More me!
Which is why I...
Me!
Always.
100%. I promise
Yeah.
my dad I will not stop having kids until there's a boy, since I'm like the last boy.
Yeah.
I'm the last
There you go.
Medney boy.
Yeah, me and my brother are the last Farbers.
Right, so you need a son. Hands down, full stop.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I need a son.
How old's your brother?
He's gonna turn 30 in May.
Married, girl,
Single, entrepreneur.
ready to mingle?
No.
Not ready to
he's,
mingle.
He's full-blown entrepreneur,
Just
focused
career
on
right
his
So like,
businesses.
so
Yeah.
like maybe like GQ's like sexy 30 under 30.
He's gonna be that for
Yeah,
sure.
cool.
For sure. Well, not under 30 under 30. He's about to turn
I was about to say,
30.
he's only got like 3
40
months,
under
like 2
40
months.
for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Does he have a
there-
business he's working on right
He
now?
has a bunch.
That's tight.
I will plug one of them. It's called Spotless First, and it's fucking genius.
That's
So
we now know the one that you believe in thinks going to work.
I do. I really
Yeah,
do. It's-
honestly, all I heard was everything your brother's doing other than that, he should stop doing.
I would say I'm not going to point all of them out because a lot of his the project that he's working on
sure.
are like crypto focused
No,
and
no,
shit
no,
like
for
that.
Yeah.
But the one that's working right now is Spotless First.
Spotless first. So,
Okay.
so what's the elevator pitch on that?
All right, so the elevator pitch is that you're an Uber driver on a Saturday and you pick up a drunk person at 2 a.m.
Matt would benefit from this because I
That-
know where you're going from. I know where you're going with
and
this.
they threw up in
and
the
they
car.
throw up in your car. You're an Uber driver. You're fucked for the weekend.
Yeah, totally.
There's no way to get your car clean.
We'll talk offline on this between us, but yeah,
We can
continue.
talk. Yeah, so you can like he's gotten it where he's partnered with Uber and Lyft. So like you have to obviously report that incident in that it happened in your car. Uber and Lyft will be like, call this number, and the number goes to
Gotcha.
Spotless First. And right
No,
off
they
the bat,
don't.
Well, no, that's, conceptually with this new company, they
Is it- is
would.
it- is it a
this
thing?
Is what, like,
Yeah.
It's a thing right now.
Yes.
No,
In
they
San-
don't. I'm just telling you. We'll talk about
not in LA. Yeah, he's in San Francisco and Seattle right now.
it. Should be.
So
here.
is this basically like insurance for Uber drivers?
No,
Or,
like they'll
what's it-
come
like
and clean
what's-
it.
So
Oh, it's a service.
it's a service that
Oh,
will
gotcha, it's a
clean up
service.
the mess.
I went the other way
spot.
with it. I was like, oh, like they'll pay you, and then like they take a cut from Spotify or from fucking from
and,
Uber or
and the
whatever.
driver doesn't pay anything. It all gets paid out through either the company or the passenger
Yeah,
gets fronted the
so
bill.
Lyft and Uber give the driver, however much it costs
$100
to
to
keep that
$300, yeah.
clean. So
Yeah.
they just give it directly to Spotless First. So,
Okay, and then they'll just remote.
okay,
They
so
just
it's
show up
more
like,
beneficial for Uber and Lyft because now that means they have a car that's
Ready to go
unusable.
again.
Oh, now we can get it out back on the road
Yeah,
in an hour.
It's really smart.
More money for them. So,
Yeah, it's great. That's
so he
perfect.
started this business and it's
It's popping.
popping, man. It's
Yeah,
been
that's
great.
great.
I can't wait till it's down here.
yeah, it's got
That's
to
the
migrate
goal.
down.
That's the goal. So yeah, he's in San Francisco and Seattle, and he's working on what city makes sense next. And
Sure.
like, there's Vegas, there's LA, there's obviously New York. So,
Yeah.
there's
New York would be interesting. I'd be curious to see how that works because it's like still run by the taxi union.
Oh,
big
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
I think is why he might be avoiding it.
Totally.
because of
That
that
makes sense.
reasoning.
Maybe Miami
but
makes sense.
his whole philosophy is this company is always going to be needed because with cars going even automated, people are still going to be throwing up. People are still going to
Probably
be getting
more if
drunk.
there's no driver.
Exactly.
Right? Because
exactly.
there's no.
So he sees this
Oh,
long term.
yeah.
like-
They don't
Oh,
give
yeah.
a fuck then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you mean tell me if I could like get drunkenly picked up in the back of a cab with not a cab driver in it, then I'm gonna like suddenly behave better?
yeah.
There's no way, man. Like this is just fucking psychology 101, man. This is not how people work.
Yeah.
That's an awesome idea.
It's pretty
though.
cool.
Like,
So
that's great.
he's just an entrepreneur in that sense where he is so different from me and my sister and just how he thinks. And that's why like relationships are not a big thing for him right now. Like, he is
gotcha.
just like fucking drilled in on
I love it.
businesses.
And what about you? You still single?
I'm still single. Yep.
Are you mingling though?
I mean,
Unlike your brother.
I got out of a relationship like a year and a half ago, and that was around the time that I got laid off from Pandora as well, like a little bit before. And I've been doing me.
I love it.
So I haven't really been dating or anything like that, but I've
It
just
just
been.
puts your stock up higher. More people want you now.
I guess
Yep,
so.
there you
I
go,
guess
man.
so. I've just been enjoying focusing on myself.
Yeah,
in
you
this
charge what
crucial
you-
time in my life.
You charge what you want when you're a free agent. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. It's all about creating value.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is.
By the way, I don't think I told you this, but I finished the book.
You did.
I did.
Wow, dude! Congratulations,
finished
man.
the
That's
book.
big.
It's getting edited right now.
How many pages is it going to be?
427.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, wrote that in like 5
You're not
months.
going to make us read that in the book club, are you?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Yeah, so me, Ben, so literally everyone that's been on the podcast so far, Ben, myself, Austin,
Kristen.
Has
Alexis.
Kristen been on the podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah,
she
she
was
talked
on-
about the Banzatown story.
Wait, she did?
Yes!
Yeah.
Wait, so can we get into that?
Yeah, let's go.
What
100%.
where did it start?
Oh, wait,
with her?
so like, they're all in the
obviously-
book club?
They're all in the
Oh,
book
yeah.
club.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So we,
all
so
right.
we were
Yeah.
reading Shoe Dog first, the Phil Knight story on Nike.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That's great.
Great
So
book.
yeah, so basically, it started with like a love fest about how much she loves you.
Oh, I love that because I do love her.
Yeah, she's great. And then it went to, and then we asked her, how did you get the job at Banzatown? Because you're at Radio Disney. Because we both actually met her 2 years ago when Logan went into Radio Disney
That makes
to
sense.
do liners.
Yep, that makes sense.
There. And then I think when we filmed hers, it had to have been relatively close to when we started the book club. So she at that point knew that there was a triangle between me, you, her.
Got it.
So when I was asking her about the Banzatown job, she started like giggling. She's like, honestly, there's a pretty funny story with Ben. and then that's how she went into it.
I love it.
So I want to hear it from your point of view.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, so toward the end of my Pandora tenure, I was in a position that I wasn't really happy with, so I started just casually looking for new opportunities. But I wanted to be very particular about where I was going next, A, because I had a job already, and B, because, I wanted a job that would kind of equal the pay of Pandora and my benefits and my lifestyle of what I had at Pandora, because I was very comfortable there. And so there was very few jobs that I would find that, like, struck out to me. But Banzatown, this artist partnerships job, the descriptions was like very similar to kind of what I was doing at Pandora. And I love tech, I love music tech, and that's kind of where I've always seen myself being in. So this job kind of popped up. And so I don't remember how she and I actually interviewed for the gig. Like, so,
Right.
so I went through
so
the
people
interview.
know you and Kristen are good friends.
We are good friends.
Right.
We are good friends. And I forget exactly how it all went down, but I remember I was talking to her one day and I like brought it up. And she like didn't say anything to me, which I didn't know where she was in the process. I'm sure she probably didn't want to say anything because she was also going through it.
You do know that you two were the finalists, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
I now know that. Yeah. And I have a full circle story to round this all out. But yeah, eventually I forget how she told me. We were texting. The job came down off the website or something, and I texted her about it, and then she was like, "Yeah, so." So she got the job. But so like that. It's how it worked. And like, listen, I was very happy for her. I mean, she had wanted to move on from Radio Disney for a long time.
Totally.
We've been talking about it for a while, and I will never be upset about a friend getting a job in this business at all. Like,
That's how she, and on the podcast, that's what she was saying. She was like, you were like happier for her.
oh my God,
Yeah, it's
just
amazing.
stoked. I mean, I love good things happening to good people.
why you're an
and like,
amazing
I was like,
person.
fucking, that's awesome.
And honestly, in hindsight, where you are now is better for holisticness of your like reportoire.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
everything worked out as it should, and
that's great.
and it was fine. And Banzatown, they treated me well. They told me that they weren't going to move forward with me, and that they really and we wanted to stay in touch. Like, all was gravy.
And do you work with them now on anything?
I really don't. I don't, unfortunately.
Because
I mean,
you're
we
not
should.
really on the touring side of things.
I'm not on the touring side. I'm on the streaming side. But what's funny about this story is that when I got my job at Warner, I went to a golf tournament a couple weeks ago, and I ran into a buddy of mine who works at Fearless. And he fucking told me that, after I've had this job for like 7 months now, he told me, dude, I was the finalist for that job.
Stop.
I was like,
That's
he's never
amazing.
wanted to like text or call me or anything. He's wanted to tell me in person, but I was like, wait, what the fuck, dude? It's just, and it just shows like, and he said the same thing to me. He's a good friend of mine, and we're homies, so it's all good. And he said the same thing. He was like, man, I was so bummed not to get that job, but it was good to see someone that he knew get the job and feel good about it. So it's like it's very full circle in a sense. Like it's just weird. Like this business,
crazy, yeah.
That's wild.
And it's just crazy. I feel like all the jobs that I was applying for and that I find interest in these days, I could talk about it with my friend. Like everyone is in. Like I can name 4 people that are applying to this fucking
100%.
job.
Well, it's like that on the touring side of things too. I mean, like I can tell you how many people I run into around the country and around the world that are like other like session dudes like me that are on other gigs or like have been on the same gig. Dude, it's the same. The community gets smaller and smaller. Like I think like the further down the road you move, the road gets a little narrower, and
totally.
like you just keep running the same people, and it's awesome. And it makes it, hopefully you have good relationships with those people, and you're excited to see them, But because I've definitely worked with some real pieces of shit that I'm just like, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah,
totally.
And that shit gets around, man.
I totally does too.
Like,
I
dude.
always make sure that I'm come out looking better than them in that situation.
Always make sure I let everyone know that Kyle's an asshole.
I lead with that. It's how I bring credibility to situations, by admitting that I'm really fucked up. But then you now believe me when I say I'm not wrong.
He just lowers the. What Kyle does better than anyone else is just makes your expectations so low that when he just slightly overachieves them, they're excited.
They're excited, yeah. But I mean, you just can't let these types of instances. You guys are cute. You can't let these small instances in life like affect how you feel. Like Kristen getting that job, like. That's one moment in our long-term friendship.
And it goes to what you were saying at the beginning. Things happen for a reason.
Absolutely. Right? And I've been in those situations where a friend of mine who worked at an agency, she wanted me to come on before Pandora to help her with tour marketing. And she stuck her neck out for me. She, really vouched for me. She offered me the job. Pandora was kind of in the talks as well. It was very early, but I ended up turning down the job from her because I was faithful. I had faith that Pandora was going to come through. At the time, she, was pretty upset with me, and it was a huge rift. And now looking back on it, we got past it. We still worked together. Now she's one of my closest friends in this business. And it's just like that to me really showed me like you can't allow instances like this to affect your relationships in whatever you're doing, because
absolutely
100%.
It's going to come back to you again.
Well, because we also work in a relationship-driven industry, and not every industry is like that, but especially creative and entertainment industries, it's like your career is made or very aggressively broken by the how good of a relationship you have with people,
100%.
I'm not saying that like you use people to get where you want to be. That's obviously like an abuse of that idea, but relationships are more important. I mean, again, the people that I like choose to not work with anymore, like lost the right to be able to have that access, because it's like you did not prioritize personal relationships over like your other goals or motives that you had with certain projects. And at the end
we
of
talked
the day,
about that last time, where like, you had a really good line that you had said about like sneaky people. Like, remember when you were saying like how you could?
Yeah, for sure. Well, because we're talking about people that like in business or in any situation, you get to the point to where like you watch someone fuck somebody over. Matt and I were talking about it the other day because we were talking about some things that have been going on that we've been working on, and basically we entered into a discussion about that. And you talk about like kind of like the ethics of how you conduct yourself around people that you work with. Basically, what I said is what I believe is that like, even though I would never like intentionally fuck somebody over in a professional situation to get ahead of them, it's easy for me to identify people that do that because I have been given the opportunity to so many times. Mm-hmm. And so by recognizing that situation, I now can also easily recognize someone that's taken advantage of that situation because I know how I could have done it.
Absolutely.
And I didn't. And so now I know how they did do it. And so just because I'm not someone that fucks people over professionally doesn't mean that I don't know exactly what that looks like.
Right.
You know, it's like
But that's what's going to set you apart from
100%.
those people is
Yeah.
recognizing that, because we all can do that.
Absolutely. It's like being a healed addict. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like I overcame this addiction, but like I can spot an addict from a mile the fucking way. And like, by the way, like you're still like given into your vice. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's the same principle. I mean, it's just like, but that's how people operate. You know, that's not exclusive of this industry.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I just think that relationships are more important because at the end of the day, you're gonna unexpectedly get laid off from good jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're gonna find yourself like having a desire to do more with your life or do something different, make a lateral move. Like you never know what life's gonna bring you, but at the end of the day, the only thing that you have left when you go to bed are the relationships that you have with people. And like
Bed meaning death.
bed meaning death.
Yeah.
When you go to die at the end of every day.
I thought I
I
actually
die
thought
over-
you meant like when you like go to die, the only thing that you have in those last moments are like the memories of the relationship.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm literally talking about like
Oh, got
Monday,
it, got it,
Tuesday,
got it.
Wednesday, Thursday, like every night when you go to bed, like you should be prioritizing and making the most important thing that you think about is just like the relationships that you have and like the quality of life and how you're treating other people.
Totally.
Because like even if you throw all those out the window, you still might have a good job and be able to move forward at your job, but like it's not nearly going to be the same as what it was.
Money,
if you
money comes and goes, jobs come and go, right? But
yeah,
like
it's people first.
yeah, and I think that was like I don't know how much you want to get into this, so you let me know. But I know when the Pandora stuff happened, we had a conversation about that, and you from what I remember, you were like pretty blown away by the support, right?
Huge.
Right, and like when we went out and stuff, and like I remember I told you because I had a friend who I'm definitely not going to name, I don't want to bring that up, who had a job at a high level on the live event side and got laid off the same way, and the artist managers that and the agents that would book from him that he thought were friends stopped calling him, stopped hanging out because like he was unvaluable to them anymore, right?
Yeah.
I think that is just like so horrific, right? And the silver lining for me with that is like it allowed me and him to be even closer. Now we have this amazing relationship because I was like, I don't give a fuck, like if you have the job or not, we're friends and like let's hang out more.
Yeah, I mean that was a really big fear of mine because obviously. I was attached to a name that everyone recognized and in a time that everyone wanted to work with. I mean, Pandora at the time was before Apple Music and Spotify.
Totally.
So, like, I say that Pandora shifted my career because I was at a small digital marketing company before where my network was not as big. When I joined Pandora, people wanted to talk to me. People wanted to connect with me. And, like, I had played that up for 5 solid years, both internally and externally, thinking that like, oh yeah, you can just go to Ben from Pandora. And, it's funny. One of my best friends like talks to me about this a lot. It was like he reminds me because I think I almost like brainwashed myself into like being like, yeah, I'm Ben from Pandora. That's how people in the industry know me.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, fuck that. Like
100%.
You're not Ben from Pandora. You're fucking Ben Farber, and you built the network that you had because of who you are.
Yeah.
100%.
And that was just like, and it showed. After I left Pandora, I was very afraid of like, how is this going to change my industry relationship?
That was like we went to Crossroads pretty quickly. Like it hadn't really developed yet, and like these are some of the conversations that we had.
I was very scared, for sure. And to be honest with you, I mean, like we work in a business. If you do step away for some time, it is very difficult.
100%. It's so hard
because everyone's working, everyone's fucking.
Well, and the fear is like I am now like, invalid because I've lost this credential. Because you wrap your identity up in the longer extension that you're able to extend because of the network behind you, and then whenever that's not there, you kind of do have a little bit of an identity crisis. Like I've been on like really successful gigs before, and I've been paid a lot of money before on gigs, and you can very easily turn that into your identity, and whenever it's not there anymore, it can be really dangerous if you don't have a healthy perspective on how to manage that and how to kind of step away and understand that didn't define who you were.
Yeah.
And it's also not going to prevent you from being able to do something great again.
Yep, I agree.
And so
100%.
That's like an encouragement, anybody listening. It's like, that's, that's just kind of like, I mean, we've all had stories like
People
that.
want to help other people. That's what I've
Yeah,
realized. is
pedigrees
people,
don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like
Person
those are
matters.
perks, and it's the person, and that was a huge realization for me as I went through this like process of change. And you know, the other thing that kind of like opened my eyes a little bit was that when I did apply for this Warner job, you know, I'm always very transparent about what my situation was at Pandora and why I'm interviewing for this job. My boss knew. You know, he was like, dude, I've never gotten more referrals for someone ever.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, he was like, he never really asked me until we went to the first Pandora event, but I feel like my boss was like, maybe a little bit skeptical because he didn't really know what the situation was at Pandora. Like, he knew that I got laid off, but didn't know,
But
did
what does
I
that
do something?
really
Or
mean?
what does that really mean?
Right,
Right? Like, it's a
right, yeah.
stigma. And then we went to a Pandora event where one of our artists was playing, and, you know, I walked in.
It's
and
family.
It was family. It was
Right.
like everyone was
awesome.
happy to see me, and it was great to see everyone, and he was like, I fucking get it. You know, like, I understand.
Well, and that's a
And-
perfect example of like a now later business relationship that you had that was strengthened by your practice of always putting people first and maintaining healthy relationships with everyone that's around you, and making it again about people first as opposed to like what's the task on hand for today, what's the job, or like how can I make this about me, or how can I advance, you know what I mean? It's like, again, it's a perfect example of just always making sure to like do your job well, be professional, obviously perform as high a level as you possibly can, but you can operate under those guidelines with taking care of others and giving to others. And if you put that out and you're that type of person, that's a perfect real world example of how that's going to come full circle, and that's going to like your reputation is going to defend you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And it's from a business perspective, you know, everyone from a business perspective wants something from someone else. I mean, that's
sure.
like, that's what it
Right,
is.
the bill comes due if you're an asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get that? You build a real personal relationship
Exactly,
with that
because
person.
it's
You
not
don't-
wrong to want or need something from
Of
someone.
course
That's
not.
how
And
that's
you
how
can
we
ask
move.
for
But
those
that
things.
should
Yeah,
define
exactly.
any relationship, right? Like when
Exactly.
I think about Ben, when I think about you, and I talk about you to friends or whatever, I don't talk about the activations we do. I don't talk about like how we've done stuff for Logan and we've done stuff for Skell. I talk about like how like we'd party at Noy House, or we went to that dope place in Mar Vista that I hadn't heard of, the Mar
Oh, yeah,
Vista.
the Mar Vista, yeah.
Yeah, it was
That
fucking
was bomb.
epic. It was so
Yeah.
good. I talk about like when we went to the Cow's End, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. You talk about like the relationship points, right? The business is almost like ancillary. If that's the touch points that you have to talk about with someone, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Right? Like with Kyle, like I talk to people, I'm like, yeah, we co-host a podcast, but like, dude makes a killer steak.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's
Exactly.
the touch point.
Yeah, for sure. I have the same kind of thing with like one of my really, really good friends who lives in Portland. He's kind of a like a mentor to me in the industry, and like we always talk about all the time. We go to like NAMM. It's like the big music trade show every
Wait,
year.
for people on here that don't know what that is.
Yeah, so NAMM is the National Association of Music Merchants, and it's basically a trade show
For gypsies.
gear companies. Yeah, it's a trade show for gear companies, and it used to just be available to people who had a business or were looking to buy products for their
So
business.
it's like EIN numbers, right?
But yeah. So, but
Got it.
now it's gotten into the fact that artists people go to network. It's turned into a whole industry thing, and like, there's lots of opinions about that on both ends of the spectrum. I just don't like NAMM anyway because like, it's massive. It's Anaheim Convention
shit
Center.
show,
It's
huh?
4 days.
Yeah.
Anyone's ever been to a trade show anywhere?
Yeah.
It's a fucking nightmare. But one of the things that my friend and I talk about a lot is like he kind of talks because NAMM's a breeding ground for like the worst ways to like introduce and talk to people and like develop professional relationships. It's like just because everyone's just like leeching, because the gear world especially, everyone's just trying to like, well, what can I get? What kind of hookups can I get? Whatever. And it's just fucking inflammatory, and it's so played out. But we talk a lot about how like he hates being introduced by his professional accolades. Like, and so like we always make it a point to be like, oh hey, like this is my buddy, like he'll like he loves, I always try to do something like really, really stupid, you know what I mean? Like he loves scotch, and he's probably one of the best sled dog racers in Nevada you've ever met. You know what I mean? It's
I
like
fucking love
something
that.
stupid,
I
and
love
it
that.
immediately kind of just like makes the whole situation be silly, and people are like, oh man, that's crazy. Because you also both understand that if you get to a certain level too, you don't really have to tell people what you do. You can just be silly and nice and then leave. And then someone will be like, who was that guy? And be like, oh, he just stepped off that tour. Or or like that guy actually did this record. You know what I mean? Or he's,
but to your point,
you're like,
it
oh
changes.
shit.
Yeah, it changes people's perception and people's conversations.
just
I mean,
makes it-
I've literally been in situations
Yeah.
before where, someone's introducing me to someone else, and they kind of quickly meet, and they meet me, and then they kind of shun me away, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh yeah, Ben works at Pandora, and like, oh really? And it just completely shifts. It's
Yep.
just like, okay,
And you're like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate that shit. Well,
Yeah.
that happens in LA I mean, I'm sure New York is awful in its own right, in its own way, but like, specifically with players and artists, like LA is the worst city for that. You go to LA parties, like that's why I don't really involve myself in like player communities or gear communities a lot.
It's a lot of craziness. A lot of people
100%.
saying things that aren't necessarily.
Well, it's a lot of
100%
posturing, and you walk into the room,
Yeah,
and people are kind of like
you know-
sizing you up,
You
trying
know
to
me,
figure
I
out.
can't deal with that.
No, not at all.
I want you to say, because we've only talked about it off the podcast, and you have a very eloquent way about saying how I gather information.
Yeah.
in a conversation.
Oh, 100%. It's just it's.
I have
purely-
no sense of syntax.
Well, we
right?
brought it.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it a little bit on either on Caitlin or Austin's episode.
No,
like,
I think
a
we talked about
line.
it in the room.
Well, no, we did, but I was editing earlier and I heard it. That's how I know. My memory's not that good. I literally was editing the episode earlier.
Touche.
I can fucking timestamp it. No, but it's to you, communication's utilitarian. It's just like I'm gonna put a certain set of data out, and hopefully that's the fishing rod I need to get the data that I need back in, and then I'm going to analyze this, and if all goes well, once that transaction's over, you're not going to be in front of me anymore, and I can leave.
And the problem
Like-
is that I sniff bullshit really, really easily.
Well, that's a skill
So
that
when
not
I
a lot
sniff
of people
bullshit
have.
with that
But,
communication tactic,
That's not good.
It's a ticking time
Right,
bomb.
that's an incredible professional skill, but not a lot of people gain unless they have a certain level of experience. But you're
certain amount of time getting fucked over.
But well, for sure. But your bullshittery has started to like infiltrate like you emotionally as a human, and you just kind of exude that. Now you just walk up and you're just like immediately like you have to prove that you have value to me,
Yeah.
And so, which that's not a wrong feeling to have, but there's tactful ways to do
But
that.
you both have value to me.
That's great, man.
I appreciate
as humans, not
As
as
humans?
not as industry people.
Okay, I
But I
appreciate
think you
that.
nailed a good point on the head with like what value do you bring to me? I mean, a lot of people treat
Just think about it that
That's
way.
LA.
Yeah,
That's LA.
100%.
It's
That
LA.
it's very much an LA thing.
yeah.
Well, and then my side of the industry, like I know you guys have your own versions of it whenever you go to like events where you network with people or you see, you're in the room with people who do similar things to what you do. In my instance, it's like a lot of times like I'm in the room with other players and like I'll go in and like guys will be like, oh cool, so like what gigs do you do? You know what I mean? And that's like the first question they ask because they want to figure out how much respect they have for you before they know you.
Or they want to
You
figure
know?
out if they want to just walk away.
Right.
Exactly. Like, you're not worth my time because eventually I can't get myself to networking to the point where I could have your gig.
Yeah, and see,
You
that's
know,
what's
it's
too
like-
bad about a lot of relationships and how people try to build relationships. So for me, I've kind of seen it full circle where
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a fucking intern or the CEO.
Exactly.
You're going to
Like-
get treated the exact same way with me because
That should
who
be the
knows what
standard.
this intern is going to
Exactly,
be.
you have no
in-
idea.
No idea. And I've seen it. I started
Oh,
off as an
100%,
intern
100%.
and I watched a couple dudes who didn't treat me very well, and all of a sudden 12 years later, I'm still working with some of them, and some of them are also hitting me up now, and it's just like, dude,
Yeah.
like that's not how this works anymore.
100%.
You know?
Well, it
And-
also goes back to like talking about how like you know how easy it is to fuck people over because you've been given the opportunity to fuck people over and you don't take it.
Yep.
Hopefully, and so it's also like it's really frustrating to me whenever guys are trying to like size you up and just be like figuring out like what gigs you're on and things like that, because a lot of people try and like they'll come in auditions or like take gigs or whatever or network their way and be like, oh, well, like if you want to start working with me, blah, 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 or whatever. It's like, there's also a whole other savage end of this industry of just like, that you're not going to fucking do that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know how many gigs that I've subbed for guys and then not wanted to take their gig, just done my part, gone in, respected their job role and did what was
But that's
asked
how
of
you
me,
get more-
did what was asked of me, and then got out and was respectful, and that's it. And then got called back and said, we'd actually rather hire you full time now because like we like the way you work better than this other person. So it's like, I'm not like tooting my own horn. Obviously, I'm very low on a list of people that I look up to who are way farther ahead of me in the industry. But also, I worked really fucking hard to get to a certain point, and so like if I also want to try to like marginalize you and push you out, like I know how to do that. I can fucking do that. And so like I think it's also goes without saying that like the guys that are like trying to size you up, it's like, my advice to you is like, please don't do that, because like we're better together than we are separately, and we can work together with one another, and we can all make sure that we are looking out
Lift
for one
each other
another,
up,
lift
yeah.
each other up,
100%.
encourage one another.
Pass opportunities back and forth.
100%, man, and that for the most part is how me and 99% of the guys that are in my circle work. You know,
I mean,
And
that's how me and Kyle started all of this.
exactly.
Right? It started actually with the wood company because last year he made a couple of pieces of furniture for me, and I was like, dude, we should sell this shit. And he was like, well, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, well, let's put something together. And I put together a website, sold a couple pieces last year.
Yeah.
And then that turned into, when we were having those conversations, into like us realizing that like our banter is like a product, right? And then that's how this evolved, was just from us being like, yo, how do we do cool things together with cool people, right? It wasn't like trying to take this or that, and there was no like cat system where I was the manager of Logan and Kyle worked for me through an artist. Who the fuck cares about that?
It's a completely separate thing. Nobody
Right.
gives a shit. Like, because like you can't walk in a room and
But I
just
think
start
some
pulling
people
rank.
do think that way, right? There's
absolutely
some
they do.
people in the industry that wouldn't even think that they could do something with Kyle because they're the manager of this artist and Kyle's the session player, right?
100%.
To me, that's like
They
outrageous.
just like don't see the value beyond just what
Exactly.
they need in
Right.
front of them now.
You know, and so like
100%.
I always want to like try and encourage guys to just be like, dude, be supportive of your community. You know what I mean? Like I don't involve myself in it heavily outside of the handful of guys that I'm
That's
already
'cause you
close
have
with.
an Ellis deal with.
Yeah, I have a son, but also I never really liked it anyway because it feels like a fucking rat race in LA. It's exhausting because of every time you go somewhere, there's always those guys that are doing that shit. But it's like support one another. But having said that, a lot of guys don't want to do that. And if you do want to try and fuck someone over, like I know how to fuck you over way more than what you think you want to fuck me over. So like just tread lightly if you don't want to like be my friend and just talk about human shit and you only want to make this about work. You're gonna like learn the hard way.
It goes
that, like,
back.
I'm better at this game than you are in terms of being a shitty person. I'm way better at being a shitty person than you are. And so, like, don't push that button.
He has chainsaws.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I saw a couple.
chainsaws. Like
That's
one
it.
chainsaw, multiple blades.
Don't fuck.
Yeah, they don't recommend that. It doesn't run very
I will
well.
cut
But
your
it's
guitar in half. To bring it full circle, though, it goes like I just believe that's the universe that is going to create this plan for that person that is negative. It's like if you're going to be negative, that's okay, but it will catch up to you eventually, no matter what. Like
well, because I also have a reasonable right to defend myself against people that are trying to like leech out of what I'm working for, you know. And so it's like it's shitty, and like I feel like I only deal with that a fraction of the amount of what you guys do working in even more of like a corporate setting in the side of the industry and like
There's
management.
that whole,
like,
we haven't even touched that iceberg. Which
that's
like,
a way bigger one.
There's a path that you might see to get something done.
Yeah.
But and maybe, and I'm actually curious from a high level, we don't have to get to details, but when you were at Pandora, it ran as a tech company, not as a music company, from what I understand.
That's correct.
So you were lean, you would be able to do things that in a corporate structure like a Warner, there might be more steps to do that.
Yes.
Whereas at Pandora, you were able to just say, this just needs to happen now. We're going to do it. We'll figure out what that looks like on paper to record it later.
Yep.
And now, what was that transition like?
I mean, it was crazy. It was because I went from a 15-person, startup digital marketing company to a massive well, I shouldn't say global. It was only in the United States, but one of the most well-known brand names at the to this day.
Totally.
So it was a huge adjustment of just going from everything was scrappy and getting it done myself, from a music business perspective. That's kind of how we all operate to, there's structure in place. There's different teams that I have a whole legal team now, and I have a whole creative team.
Right, because you would just look over shit, right?
I would just, it was me. It was me. So it was about going into it, and it took me a long time, but it just kind of was like, okay, I need to just say I don't know what is going on, and to just, again, it goes back to relationships. I'm going to continue to go back to it.
Totally.
It was just about like, this team is an engineering team and they're the ones that build the platform itself that is creating all of this to happen. I need to understand how that operates, how that works. And, so I would go and I would build relationships with those people and just say, dude, I'm a blank canvas. Like, teach me what you do. Or the legal team, like, they're responsible for all the artist contracts and, what signatures we need. So I just made a joke with them, like, I want to be I'm a paralegal. Like, I want to learn. And it just was like, going through all those steps and taking the time and realizing that it takes a long time to learn those steps. And my whole thing was that when I got to Warner, I'm fearful of change.
Okay.
That is one of like my big fears.
You had a lot of change in the last 6 months.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have, which I think has helped me a lot in just kind of going with the flow. But I'm very habitual. I like to just have a routine, and I will fucking just stay there. You know, I went to the same elementary school. I went to the same high school. I went to the same fucking college. And I've been in the same city since I graduated college. You know, I'm like very like that. So even when I got to Warner after my experience at Pandora, I was still super nervous about being at a new company and learning the ropes and like what is my job here, what is expected of me, and it was kind of just like going back and just re-educating and understanding that like it's okay to not know. It's okay to go into a job, even if I'm a director, to not have everything set in stone and like I have to come and have the answers. It's like, okay, well, why don't I just start learning the pieces of how a campaign is put together, go and make those relationships with those people and learn from them and say, okay, well, how can I help them in their process of getting to their goal?
Right.
And that whole thing for me was like, well, they might not have a full understanding of how a tech company or streaming service works. So now I'm sitting at the table and, okay, my help can be, this is the best way to strategically plan your campaign from a streaming perspective.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of like grew
And you had a
my
lot of
confidence in that way.
knowledge on that coming in.
I did, but I will admit that my boss, he always says you're the Pandora expert, which is true. But I also I feel like I'm humble in a way of like, I kind of got into it. I was like, well, shit, am I going to know how to educate these people on what's going on? And as time has gone, yes, like my conversations are like, well, that's not exactly how we operated at Pandora. So maybe I do have something to contribute. So it's about just like, cool.
Sure.
Yeah, because a lot of those people, especially at like a major like Warner, have been around since they were selling CDs. Right, so
that's a mind blowing thing to me. Like a lot of my coworkers have just never. My boss has never left Warner, and like
so been there for 25 years. So streaming is brand new. Whereas for you, that was all you knew.
Correct.
So that's like such an interesting, like ironic dichotomy.
Yeah, it's actually funny because we talk about CD sales, and I'm just like, the fuck?
That's amazing.
But, it's still an important part of the business.
People still buy CDs, man. There's dudes that still hang on to that fucking 320.
Dude, especially in rock, man. Like
that
it is
rate,
crazy, and in classical. So Alexis works in classical.
Yeah.
And I would always assume that classical vinyl, right? That's just like my general assumption. We went to one of her artist shows at Northbridge's like Fine Arts Center, Northbridge College, University, whatever it is.
Oh, Northridge?
Okay. Northridge.
Oh, yeah,
thank
Northridge.
You.
Yeah.
Amazing hall. Amazing hall.
Cal State Northridge.
Yes.
Okay,
Cal State
yeah,
Northridge.
okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
you're
it's okay.
You're a California guy. You've lived here a long time. I'm from New York. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah. It's just
Cal
the-
State
it's the
Northridge.
valley. It's up north,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So first off, the music director there, his name is Thor. I love him.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah, he's Thor is amazing. But so I've been there for a handful of performances because Alexis works at IMG, books a lot of classical music, and when we started going to the events, I was like shocked at how every classical artist had boxes of CDs and they all were selling.
Wow.
I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like blew my mind.
Yeah.
That still happens. Like cool because it like validates a physical. I'm a big proponent that all product needs a physical and digital component. Doing one or the other too much is an irrelevant way to run a business.
I agree.
But it just like validated the point that like physical still matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% does. Well, because at the end of the day, too, whenever you look at all these different versions of being able to consume audio, they all provide a different listening experience because of the quality of how that audio is compressed onto that physical disc or like onto that tape or onto that record or into this streaming platform or through your computer. It's like that's always been since the introduction of being able to consume music digitally. That's been the number one conversation from an audio perspective. It's just like what's the highest quality of being able to consume audio? It's been a CD
It still is.
because of the compression.
It
and
still
so, like,
is.
how do we make online equal to that?
It can't be because the bandwidth is astronomical.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this, I'm sure, now working on the label side. Songs get compressed insanely by the DSPs just because they have to. The bandwidth to run a full-sized master for every song on a platform, there's not enough bandwidth. These companies would be losing more money than they're already losing.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation because that some services they are providing those higher quality listening, but to the mainstream and to
People don't care.
People don't care.
That's
What's
the
lost?
other
Don't give a
thing.
shit.
Well, the perfect example is just that, like, I don't really know much about the visual side of art or any medium through that, and so, like, I have a TV, like I have a nice LCD TV, and
You're
like you
welcome.
also, yeah, thanks, Matt. So got that from Matt, but
For the coffee table.
yeah, we do
amazing.
we do bro trades a lot,
I like
and
that.
so
That's
yeah,
a great bro.
100%. So
He needed a new TV. I needed a new coffee table. It's perfect.
Dude, that's perfect.
yeah, like I value my labor at one smart Samsung TV.
Hey man, that's a good one.
And so, but basically the example is like, and we can wrap here in a few minutes too, but you know, the example is that, like, I couldn't give a two fucks about whether it's in 1080p or 780p or whatever. Like, I have my iTunes and my
Interesting,
Apple.
'cause I could.
Well, exactly, because it's something you care more about. You're invested more in it, and you understand the difference. I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. Whenever I
You
stream,
care about the audio, right?
I care about the audio. I don't give a shit about whenever I'm watching TV or movie. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. I'm consuming an art form that I take no part in creating, and so I'm just gonna watch it as a regular consumer. Whenever it comes to music, though, it's a very different conversation. But I am the example of what we're talking about in the film world of, like, it does matter in terms of, like, how we're, like, watching a movie, like what, like, their camera settings are on, like when my TV settings are on, my streaming settings, things like that, like how I'm consuming this art. It does matter because, like, I'm now changing the lens through which I view art that they created, that they intended for a certain purpose, and so it's important. And so, like, on the music side of that, it is important because, like, you have all of these people that do all of these things all along the way, and, like, no one, you guys do, but, like, people have no idea what has to get done to make a record.
Absolutely.
You know, and you're gonna listen to that on Spotify at 128 kilobytes per second in your fucking car. Like, how dare you? Like, how dare you? Like, diminish the
frustrating.
quality of our art to that
Right.
because, like, you don't want to go in and change a setting. You
Right.
don't want to pay more or whatever.
But then the
like,
argument is
but
that
yeah.
that person is listening to your record.
Exactly.
You know,
so
like,
it comes full circle,
shit.
and there's always such a
Well,
huge. There's so many details that go into it. So yeah.
So my dad talks about something called commercial creativity, and what he defines as commercial creativity is there's pure creativity, which is, let's say, a painting in the Guggenheim in New York, right? So that piece of art was intended to be a piece of art exactly how the artist created, exactly how he or she wanted it to be viewed. But when you get into things that are commercial creativity, like music, like film, like ads, he's from the ad world. He says you have to make concessions to get the product to the consumer. And that's the difference between commercial creativity and fine art creativity.
Yep.
And I think that going to what you were saying, Ben, is, yeah, there might be all these steps that need to be done to make the record sound tight, and that is like its purest form. But at the end of the day, you're making pop music or rock music commercially for the fan. So I think that at the end of the day, it's about how do you get it to that fan in the most malleable and digestible way possible.
Exactly.
And if it has to devalue its art by nominal percentage points, then it has to, because that's the medium of art that you decided to work in.
Well, and that lens has also shifted my method now in terms of how I mix and how I'll do a record, in terms of like I don't ever compromise whenever I'm hired as a player, because, like, I'm not on that side of the record. If you hire me to play on your record, like, you are getting 100%, you're getting 110%, 10 out of 10. I pull out all the stops if you hire me to play on your record. But if I'm mixing or producing, it's a very different story, because we have to have a conversation about what the goals for this project are, and for, like, what you want to do, where you want to put it out. And, like, that's going to absolutely influence and ultimately dictate, like, my mix decisions, like my own compression and master settings for whenever, like, we're finished with these tracks and I go to put it out. It's like, it, you know, and this is a whole other tangent conversation to get into, just in terms of the loudness war of, like, music is constantly getting louder, and that's that's largely due to the fact that we now have new compression thresholds that are available through online and through streaming. We have literally more physical headroom by a number of decibels than we have ever had before, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so engineers
affect what you're doing?
engineers are mixing louder.
In terms of what?
Like putting out a record, maybe with an artist, even like them hearing it like compressed like that. Have you ever had to deal with an artist like hit you up and be like, "Yo, like this does not sound like the record that I put out"?
The only artist that I have had to deal with so far that does not agree with the quality of streaming services is Neil Young.
That's not surprising.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, that's not surprising. And he has his own service called Neil Young Archives where he, takes pride in the...
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
It's pretty tight, but it's also like,
Wait, on some level, though, you can make the argument that like there are only so many combinations of zeros and ones you can throw into a program, and like you're bound by the technological limits of that engineer. And so, like, is this streaming platform pound for pound really that much better than the other ones that are available?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But I do, to his credit.
And we're not saying yes or no, by the way.
course.
I'm asking a leading hypothetical question to provoke thought in anyone listening. But yes, I'm not asking you to say yes or no.
No, without a doubt. I do think what he is doing is very interesting because I think that the internet and this digital space is all about creating community. And so,
100%.
like, a lot of these car companies, what they're doing now is they're building their own social networks, their own, like,
Fair, right?
And so what he's trying to do is he's trying to hone the music side of, like, come to my platform where you can get free tickets and interact with me. And he's providing, like, a personal artist platform.
I totally think that's the future.
So I do think it is the future. It's just, like, right now, people and mainstream are, they're going to go to what is familiar and what their friends are doing.
100%.
Yeah.
So I do think it's an interesting concept, but just not right now, to be honest with you.
I do think that streaming services will probably white label the technology for you to be able to code your own, like, benfarberartist.com.
Yeah.
And the powering of the music on that platform is that audio, like, zeros and ones.
I think that is a completely feasible.
Well, because it's all about
thing.
file size hosting. I mean, at the end of the day, the only reason we have the streaming quality we do is because people are only willing to stream an MP3, which is why Tidal and some of these other services that have like premium applications are like
you're getting
waves, you're getting FLAC files,
people
you're getting
don't realize
AACs,
that about Tidal.
Yeah. So
explain that.
Well, Tidal's just an example of that, and this isn't to throw out, who is going to like have the better service. I'm just saying that like there's options out there of giving you higher quality streaming services from a higher quality source. And so an MP3 is not as high quality of an audio waveform as a WAV file or a FLAC file or an AAC file or an AIFF file. And so it's like all of these different files and all these different file sizes and types are significantly different in size from one another and depth,
right?
And even bit depth and like sample rate, and even coming from your software. I mean, like it's all about retaining like the zeros and ones behind the closed doors. It's about retaining that quality from your mastering session into this now streamable file format, and MP3s are at the bottom of that list.
Absolutely. But then with Tidal, though, that the issue is that you have to pay $20 a month.
Exactly, because they have to pay that much more actual
for the storage.
Digital storage to have all of these.
Yeah. And to this point, I feel like this is where the TV and movie industry is now feeling what the music industry has been feeling, because now, they like we have been making blockbuster movies that are meant to be seen on big picture screens. Kids don't fucking do that anymore. They watch on this fucking little thing, and they watch it on YouTube, and that's
100%,
100%. And they're feeling that. They're like, why, you can fucking bootleg movies, and Netflix is super smart because now they're making these motion picture quality movies.
Oh yeah,
and
they're
just
doing
releasing them on Netflix.
They're doing everything in house. It's genius. The other side of that coin, though, is that now because Netflix is started to oversaturate its own pool of art, not all of them are winners now.
No,
because it used to be Netflix used to be the authority
Totally.
on like, oh, if it's a Netflix platform, if it's Netflix original content, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that through their track record, it is going to be the best thing I've ever seen. And we stopped saying that 5 years ago.
Yeah, but
but they're proving a point.
They're proving a point, and they're also doing what we just talked about with creating their own network and their own.
Absolutely.
They're not taking content in themselves, and Disney is about to do that.
Disney
That's
Plus
what
gonna be crazy.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You can see these companies. It's almost like what
It's a
CBS
war.
and NBC and
It's a
ABC
war
were doing
coming.
in the fucking 60s and 70s.
yep. Well,
it's like the next gen of these
this
companies.
is the new version of
This is the
Network
new-
Wars. Yeah,
They're just going to buy everyone, and it's going to
Well,
consolidate.
NBC and CBS own Hulu.
yeah,
And Disney too, right? Disney now bought the controlling share of Hulu.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they're going to roll Hulu into Disney Plus.
It would be a smart
It
move.
would be a smart move.
Yeah.
because right now Disney Plus is going to be lacking in terms of television
Absolutely
content.
not. Do you not
Television.
know? Well, what do you define as television?
Well, I mean,
like series?
I don't know. Even though they both are capable of this, like I do not know anyone that goes to Hulu to watch movies. They go to Netflix to watch movies. They go to Hulu to watch on network TV shows.
On network.
That's
right,
what I'm
right,
saying.
right,
And so
right.
it's like
because
Disney
Disney
doesn't
Plus
have.
has like 24 TV shows that they're starting to roll out.
Oh
The
right, but
Loki series,
Hulu is like a conglomeration of like pretty much every sitcom and network TV
right,
show.
because it's the same deal as Spotify. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Disney
It
was
operates
smart.
the same way as Spotify. You know, like how Universal, Warner, and Sony own a piece of Spotify.
Yeah.
That's how they like the streaming works. That's how Hulu works.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
now there's a college discount for Hulu and Spotify.
Exactly.
Boom.
Dude, I got the Black Friday 99 cents a month for a year.
Oh wow, that's
Hulu.
great.
That's
Yeah,
what's
that's
up.
great.
Great, man.
That's
That's,
what's
a
up.
great
But I
plug.
they still shoot ads at me.
I mean,
Is what it is.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, is what it
See,
is.
I'm the other type of person where like I pay for Hulu premium subscription, and then when they were like, we're actually going to charge you more money now because we're going to start introducing commercials, I'm like, okay, you can have my money. I'll pay an extra $4 a month. I don't want commercials. I will pridefully throw money at a problem until it goes away and I'm comfortable.
wow. Because I think a majority of people won't. They don't.
No, I'm
they,
Yeah,
they'll
no,
sit
it-
through
it
the
I'm
really-
way
I'll
too
do
Jewish.
it.
I don't know about
really
you.
fucking irritates
No,
my
without a
wife
doubt.
that I do that because she's super frugal and so
It's
it's
called
like
Jewish.
she's not Jew, she's Polish. My wife's
But it's
Polish.
called
Yeah.
it's called being Jewish.
But
Yes.
I can't. I'm racist if
You
I
can't
say that
say
as a
that, but
non-Jew.
we
Like,
can.
I
say
know.
that.
I'm,
You guys
I'm
say
trying
that.
to like hook him
Yeah.
into saying it.
I'm
You cannot
way-
call him a racist.
You can't do it.
No,
I
we're
want
not
to
gonna
call him
happen.
a racist.
We want to call you a racist.
It's not gonna happen.
It's like a bait and switch.
No, you know who gets in trouble for being racist? People who aren't actually racist. That's why I'm never
right.
gonna get in trouble for being
No,
racist.
totally,
because
because-
I'm actually racist.
On that note,
Yep. Dude, give us something real quick that we can plug for you. Your podcast.
Yep, my podcast
Yep.
is probably my number one thing right now.
okay,
so
okay,
say
cool.
it again.
so it's called How the Fuck Do I Podcast? You
How
can-
the fuck do I podcast?
How the fuck do I podcast?
How the fuck do I fuck fest?
How do I we're on Instagram
Cool.
at How the Fuck Do I Podcast.
Great name.
You can find us on fucking Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher.
Okay.
all of the-
podcast app?
I don't know if I'm on that yet.
Let's find out.
Let's make it happen. We should.
We'll throw up links. We'll get our executives to send.
My personal socials is BL Farber on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I love connecting with people, so definitely hit me up.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's definitely what I want to plug. One thing that we have to do though, at the end of my podcast, so we do this thing called 100% Farb Facts.
Okay.
Oh, let's go.
And essentially, I also say 100% a lot when
I say
am
a lot.
hosting.
Yeah.
And you guys fucking crushed it.
We
So,
abuse that phrase.
You do abuse
Yeah.
that phrase. Actually, I would probably say more than me. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
we did it.
You guys did. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a great high five. Marta makes me say however many times I've said 100%.
Oh, God,
a
I don't
fun
know.
fact. So you did it more than 10 times. I've counted in my head. So
Okay.
I think you should
Okay.
at least give 3. You did about 5 or 7. So you need to give 2 fun facts about yourself. It can be anything you want.
Okay,
but-
so I'll take 3. You take 2.
all right,
Yeah,
so
let's go. You want me to start?
here's
You want to
the,
start?
the Nerds on Coffee 100% Farb Facts edition.
Okay, so I'll bookend it because I have one more. So like, I'll go, you go, I'll go, you go, go. So number one fun fact: I as much as I love red meat and steak and eating basically anything that was alive and is now dead, was actually a vegetarian until I was about 15, and I didn't eat steak until I was in my early 20s.
That makes so much more sense now. I
dude.
get it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a good one.
Fun fact number 1.
For those people that don't know, I was nationally top-ranked goalkeeper in the country in 2005, 2006.
No, I
This
didn't
was
know
something
that.
that even I just learned recently.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, really?
So-
Yeah.
Shit.
I'll keep
Soccer, not hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Important distinction to make.
Yeah.
You have the build of a hockey player, but not
I
the
was going
height.
to say,
yeah.
I
But I
assumed
didn't.
hockey at first.
But
Yeah.
I didn't. So I'm a solid 230, like deadlift like 600 pounds right now. I was 170 when I played
Right,
soccer.
yeah.
Yeah, I was a small dude.
Well, I'm saying you got the
Like
build
in
of a
terms
hockey player
basketball,
now.
I had ups.
Yeah,
Damn.
you're
Because I was a psychopath, dude. I wore ankle weights every day of high school from 9th grade on,
That's
just to like get like I sacrificed a
Like,
lot. to
during
play.
the day,
Hockey,
you...
man.
All day, I just wore ankle weights. I was up at 5 a.m. every day doing wind sprints at my school. I was
Just
like
fucking
crazy.
dedicated,
fucking
man.
weird, man.
Dude, I was crazy.
That's
I was crazy.
fucking weird.
My dad
I
played
love it,
football
though.
at University of Georgia, and I was like, I have to be that level.
Yeah, so how did you handle people making fun of you?
Well, how do you handle
So
it
they
now?
didn't really because we were so good.
Okay, all right.
You know?
Okay.
You know, like I
So
would.
you
I
just
would
had that swagger
you
and be
just-
like, I'm wearing ankle fucking
You just
weights,
pointed at
man.
the scoreboard. You're like, say whatever the fuck
Yeah, I
you
mean,
want.
like
wearing the
we
ankle
won
weights.
we won the states and the divisions, and like no one was saying shit to us because
Yeah.
they're like, you do whatever crazy shit you're doing because
Yeah,
you keep
'cause it
winning.
works, yeah.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
fair enough.
That's amazing.
right.
I'll keep with the sports thing going. It's like a lot of people, which we also just recently talked
Yeah.
about. Like a lot of people don't know. It's like I'm actually a very, very decades long, heavily trained and like multiple black belt, like mixed martial artist in like the Olympic arena and in like private and in K1. And so it's like I never really went down a rabbit hole of like fighting professionally, but like I fought a lot. I trained a ton and was like one of the alternates on the Olympic team that fought in the Sanshou World Cup for mixed martial arts and like helped train that team. And so it's like a lot of people don't really know that about me because like I don't really upkeep that anymore. But like I have a bag still and like kind of like I keep myself like current. You know what I mean? Because like I do have a wife and a son, and LA's a crazy city.
Dude, great one.
but-
damn.
yeah, so-
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would say another fun fact. I know, like, so people know that I tour manage. But just to kind of put it in perspective, I've been to 37 countries in my life.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so like that's always one that I think is like an interesting fact.
And tour managing is
tour
what got you
managing,
there.
yeah. So I've produced over 200 shows in 37 different countries, and doing festivals in every country from Croatia to China to Australia.
Great one. Dude, and it's like insane. You'll just go for like 3 days to these places.
3
and, like,
days.
just
I mean,
madness.
I was so happy last year. We almost went to China for 48 hours, and
Wow.
they ended up pulling the gig. It was going to
Yeah.
be a Corona like in and out like promo event.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't end up doing it, but that would have been 100 hours total, with 65 of them being in the air.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
I went to
Yeah, I know. You just did that actually. You just did that in
you did
Australia.
that?
I went to
Yeah,
Australia.
Brutal.
The past 4 months, I've been to Australia twice for two 36-hour
Dude.
touchdowns for one performance and then coming back.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's brutal.
How delirious were you, man?
Don't even get jet lagged. You just fucking blow it all out of your psyche, and you're just like, this was a weird warp dream.
What's your last one?
I think. I don't know. It's tough to think about stuff for yourself.
It is. It's very hard.
I'm not sure. I mean, is there anything about me that like
trying-
you know
I'm
that
trying
we
to
haven't
think.
really
I'm trying to
talked
think.
about? Like,
I don't know.
Where are you? Where are you originally from, or like
Everyone knows
what
that,
kind of
Oklahoma.
okay? What kind of grades were you getting in school?
Well, he fell out. Everyone knows.
oh
that.
yeah. So
we
fun
talked
fact.
about
Fun
that.
fact. We've talked about this too, but
Okay.
like, yeah, we've talked about that too. Like, I got kicked out of high school. Like,
All right, here's another good one. I got another good one. So
right.
what's your shower routine?
shower routine, great. In terms of just like when I get in the shower, like what's the routine?
What's the routine?
So I as soon like whenever I get in the shower, I will obviously like wet everywhere. I will get.
I hope you.
I was about to say,
really
if it
hope
was
you do
dry
that.
everywhere, we would be extending this podcast for a lot longer.
Yeah, no, it's a secret to skincare, man. It's no moisture. No, I get in, like, obviously, like, I just take, just a second for myself to just kind of, like, acclimate under the water.
Yep.
An extension of this fun fact is that, like, I don't really like hot showers. I don't like warm showers. I don't take cold showers, but it's, like, room temperature.
Okay.
But the routine is, like, once I'm comfortable and acclimated, I wash my hair right off the bat so I can get that done right away. And then I put conditioner in my hair, let it sit. And then while the conditioner's sitting, I body wash. I wash my whole body. And then by that time, I rinse everything out and then I get out.
We have the exact same routine.
Yep.
I literally do the exact same thing.
100%, man. You got to wash your hair first because then you got to take advantage of the time that the conditioner's in your hair to wash your body.
I don't dry myself in the shower. I throw a towel on. If it dries me, and I just start walking around the apartment. It drives Alexis nuts.
So like you literally won't dry.
I'm very
You just
Neanderthal.
let it just like
no, I throw
air
a
dry?
towel on.
Well, yeah, but
But
like,
I
you don't
don't
dry off
you don't
before you
like-
get out.
Fuck
You just
no.
drip drop.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point, the towel isn't even really doing anything. You're just trying to cover your dick.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
That's exactly what you do. So
No,
like,
that's exactly what I'm trying
you
to do.
get over the shower and player 3 enters your apartment without you knowing. You don't want your donger hanging around. Like
100%.
That's what that is. That's just defense mechanism.
Yeah, I'm a Neanderthal like that. I like natural drying.
Dude, that's a really good. We're gonna have to come up with a nerds version of
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah.
You should.
That's
That
a
was
great-
a very
that's a
good,
great thing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
100%
Great.
Farb Facts.
All right,
So
cool.
Matt Meadows waiting for me
Yep.
for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Dude, Ben, thanks for being here.
Man,
We're
you're
gonna throw up some
amazing.
socials.
I love
We're
you.
gonna plug your
we could talk for another
podcast.
2 hours.
I agree. Thank you for
dude,
having
we
me.
want to have you on again though because I feel like there's so many untouched
Yeah.
subjects that we could.
Do you
just...
play any instruments?
I play the guitar.
Oh,
but
we would love to have like we should do like a battle.
he would kill me.
I know, but it'd still be fun. It'd
You
still
know,
be
I'm
fun.
a pop punk kid. I know how to play power chords, so I feel like
Well, no,
I
I
can
think
play
the
the under
fun-
power chords, and then you can riff off
Well,
of that.
no,
That's what
I
we
think
should
that
do.
like we could actually like use the platform as an example to be able to like have a different perspective on playing an instrument in an industry because like I made so like because like you I'm assuming
I'm gonna
do
go
it-
get Matt.
Okay,
Love
cool.
you guys. You guys keep talking.
It's like I'm assuming that you do it like out of a hobby and out of enjoying it, and like
Totally.
maybe you played in bands or maybe whatever. But like I made an entire career out of making money playing the guitar.
Yeah.
It's very different than what I'm assuming your relationship with the instrument is.
Oh, completely. I
And
mean,
so-
well, I wanted to be a rock star. I mean, that's like how I got into the music business. So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I wanted to be Tom DeLonge. And when
Oh,
I
gotcha.
realized that I, didn't have the chops to really do that, and that's when I was like, oh, I should look at being on the business side.
Oh,
And I
okay,
can
cool.
still be a rock star behind the curtain.
Right. And I never really wanted to be the rock star. I always just wanted to make a living doing music, which
Yeah.
is why I went after being a hired gun,
Yeah.
being a session guy. So
I never knew that was really an option to like become a hired gun.
Oh,
I
dude,
thought it was always just like band
I was
and
like,
then
I was like a late teenager, and once I discovered that someone could pay me even $1 to play my guitar for them, I was like,
You're
I'm gonna
done.
find more
You're
of this.
sold.
I'm never gonna do anything again. So,
yeah.
all right, man. Well, we're gonna head off. Thank you guys. Have a great night, and we will see you next episode.
Right on.
Love you guys. Bye.